Hey guys, Matt Landfair here with Primary and Secondary. Welcome to ModCast. This is ModCast 109. We're going to be talking about jungle combat. Not necessarily just jungle combat, but things to consider in high heat and jungle environments. I guess there's some really cool concepts that we need to take in mind or consider when you're in that type of an environment. We had a really good Facebook thread discussing this. I believe Matt Shockey started it. I live in a somewhat deserty environment, so this is going to be polar opposite. And I grew up in a little bit more of a humid area, but nothing close to the environments we're going to be talking about. We have some people that are perfectly suited for this discussion. It's rather exciting. Matter of fact, we're going to have a couple more people join us in a little bit. They'll also be able to add a little bit more depth to our whole conversation. So my background's in law enforcement. Been doing that law enforcement thing for a little bit. Do that video game thing. Really enjoying getting really good information out on primary and secondary. This has been an absolute blast. You can find us on primaryandsecondary.com. We do have a website. We are all over Facebook. We are on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/primary and secondary, that basically through that, the donations that are provided there basically fund the efforts that we're providing here. They provide the funds to pay for a lot of the resources that we provide. They're also going to help pay for some projects that In-Range TV, Forgotten Weapons, and Primary and Secondary are all going to work on together. And we're going to basically put our resources together and put together some really cool. I don't know if I can say more than that. I'll just say it's really cool. I'm excited about it. So if you haven't already, check out In-Range TV, check out Forgotten Weapons. It's great. For me, it's replacing TV. It's replacing movies because it's just educational, and they're great guys. So let's continue on with some intros. Jordan, are you ready for an intro?
Yeah. I'm Jordan Bowles. I've got probably going on 10, 12-year history of designing and making and manufacturing guns and other things. I was a YouTube sidekick for a while with Carnik, and just general kind of nerd. I guess tonight I'll be here with Matt asking the questions that everyone else is. So here to learn, and I guess that's it.
Yeah.
How to fight predators.
That's right.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's right. And we do have a kind of a pseudo co-host who's going to be joining us here shortly as well. Pretty much he asked me, hey, do you think we could do this subject? And I said, yeah, we can do that. And he's going to be a big source of the questions as well. He's an active duty military dude. Jose, tell us about yourself.
I'm just a former Army guy, still doing Army stuff. Not too special for me.
Except you have a beard. That's pretty special.
Yeah, I have a beard because I'm a former Army guy, still doing Army stuff. It helps in KLE sometimes.
Cool. And you're a drinker of fine beverages and smoker of fine cigars.
This is a 15-year Glenlivet right here, just letting you know.
And this is I think this is probably made this year a rock star. It's not very good for me, and it will kill me.
And this is a Monte Cristo #2, but I cut it down because I want the other half.
Gotcha. And we have Justin. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so current Army guy, don't have a sweet beard like Jose here. And I'm just here because I've got a little bit of time suffering in the jungle. So...
Yes, you do. And also, I believe all of us, hey, there he is. Perfect timing.
Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, and so Justin, actually, as a matter of fact, I believe all of us have a similar background. We all came from the Forum Light Fighter, and from there we grew up, and we're where we are now. And it appears that Motty, or Mate, as some people may know him as, is having some difficulty.
Never done this before. I apologize, Matt. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, no worries. Yeah, I can just turn you up just a little bit. We're actually just doing intros, so if you want to intro yourself.
Geez. Yeah, my name is Motty. A lot of people confuse that with Mate because that's how it's spelled. And anyways, I'm in the 82nd, been there for almost 2 years. I'm still just a new guy. Not new to shooting though. I've been doing that for quite a while, taking a few classes. But I don't know hardly anything about soldiering. So that's why I'm here to ask questions.
And so Motty here was the guy that's going to pretty much be my co-host with this. We're doing this for him to help him out to have a better idea of what he's getting into. Poor guy. So with that in mind, right off the top of your head, Jose, what are some of the biggest considerations you need to think of going into a high heat, high humidity environment?
Okay, so I'm going to assume you're asking tactically, correct? Or you want to like civilian side. There's two sides here, because there's a civilian trend of hiking the jungle, with all these adventure races, which is cool.
No. Yeah, let's stick with we're carrying guns. We have a purpose.
So, I mean, and Justin, please chime in. Don't feel, do not be shy and interrupting me. But, well, actually, don't interrupt me. Just don't be shy. But the major considerations is that I think of when I go to the jungle is, okay, what kit am I going to carry? Number one, how's my loadout going to look? I immediately discount any body armor, with the exception of, and I tried this out, not my last trip, but the trip prior to Columbia, I tried out wearing my JPC with just the soft armor as a rack system. And I'll be honest with you, it worked for me, but that's another topic. So considerations, we're just talking considerations. So how are you going to load out? What kit are you going to use? Are you going to use, first line, second line? If you get issued a pistol, are you going to carry it? How are you going to carry it? Then working from the top down. Normally, I wear a boonie cap. Sometimes I go hatless. Yeah, don't ever go headless. Don't ever do that. A lot of air resistance goes away, but you can't breathe. But I normally sometimes I go hatless, but I wear a boonie cap for the most part, but my brim is really cut down. The hat's down, and so I'm up myself to about an inch and a quarter at the most. But that's just me. And again, let me caveat all this. This is just me. I'm a sample of one, so keep that in mind. Okay, always keep that in mind. Uniform, we get issued the Cry system, both the G3 combat uniform. It works well for me. Some guys it doesn't. We also get issued the Patagonia stuff. I fucking hate it. Some people like it. I don't like it. It just doesn't work for me. I don't do considerations. I do not wear underwear. Some guys do. Just, that's me. I do not wear socks. I hate wet socks. And the one thing you have to remember in the jungle is you're always going to be wet. And it doesn't matter which jungle you're in. I've been in jungles in Honduras, El Salvador, Colombia, the Philippines, Malaysia, two places in Africa. So you have to be very cognizant of being wet. You're going to be wet. And then on top of that, okay, what are you going to carry to mitigate the wetness? I normally carry an extra bottom. I don't necessarily carry an extra top. Depending on if we're going to be out for a long time, I'll carry a top and a bottom, an extra top and a bottom. I'll wear one while I'm moving. And then when we bed down for the night, I'll take that one off and put on my dry one and sleep in it because it sucks sleeping in the wet, unless I can't. But that's the intent, okay? And then for boots, my recommendation straight up is the Vietnam style, lugged green canvas jungle boot. However, there's some other jungle boots that just came out. The Solomons, I haven't tried them yet. We got them, but I haven't tried them. And we have the new Rockies. About the Rockies, I did use one time the Nike assault boots, and that was great because the canvas on the canvas upper is actually very comfortable without socks. It's like a sock with laces, but the sole just isn't conducive to walking in wet freaking terrain. I personally wear, some guys don't like this, but I normally wear either flight gloves or I wear the new Arc'teryx, I forget what they're called, leather palm gloves because, black palm is an issue in certain places, and other sticky things. And then if I'm going to, and I always carry a ruck in the jungle, I just do, especially if I'm going to be out for more than 24 hours. It doesn't matter if I'm going to be out for 24 hours or not. I carry a ruck, whether it's an assault pack. I don't carry an assault pack. I carry a ruck. I carry an Alice pack. I just carry a standard Alice pack. Main reason is, and this is just me, I'm an old guy, since 1983, I've been doing it. So the Alice lets the air pass through and kind of breathe on my back. Because if you have something sucking against your back, like an assault pack, not always, but sometimes you'll get heat rash. And that's a problem. I haven't I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I've gotten heat rash and I don't want to get it again. I'll leave it at that. So I carry a rucksack, and it might be, shrunk down to whatever, but in that ruck thing that I always have, and this is kind of goofy, but I always have the mosquito head net, always. Because inevitably, I don't know, I haven't done a daylight one day. Everything I've done is overnight, and dude, you cannot sleep with that head net. And even if you get sucked up and you have to move at night, which you probably won't do, but sometimes you have to, you can wear the head net and move at night. But that's when the bugs and mosquitoes, all the little fucking feely things that come out and attack you, they get in your fucking face. So I carry that head mosquito netting, for that reason. If we have to carry helmets, depending on what we're doing, when I was moving, I put the helmet on the back of my ruck or inside my ruck. Actually, I put it on the inside of my ruck. I always carry tons of water. That's another major consideration. I always carry tons of water. And I carry standard 2 quarts on my kidneys. And I carry a Camelback inside my ruck, but I don't put it against my body. But that's to refill my 2 quarts. What else am I thinking? I always carry a poncho liner. Never go anywhere without my whoopee. And I almost always try to carry a jungle hammock, but sometimes you don't get to use it. And they're pretty small, so you don't need to carry a lot, or it doesn't weigh down a lot. Carry instead of a poncho liner, I've just started doing about, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, is that Snug Pack Jungle liner, and it actually works great, man. I love that thing. And I do not put it in the stuff sack. I just pull it out of my rucksack. It's kind of like crumpled up. I pull it out of my rucksack and I wrap up in it, and then I just put it back in the top flap. I never, and this is another consideration, I don't to open my rucksack fully, but everything inside my ruck is waterproofed, and I don't use the Army standard charcoal waterproof, blah, blah, blah. I have the Arc'teryx ones, and I have the OR, or the Outdoor Research waterproof bags, because they stuff down really good and they seal really well. Trying to think what else for considerations. But that's about it right there. Over.
Why do you cut up your boonie?
So I can see. I'm one of those short dudes, I'm a statuesque 5'5", I might add, but I'm still short. So I cut the brim of my boonie down at night, especially, because then I take the front part and I just stuff it underneath here. And it makes like this flat portion right here, and I can see a lot better at night. And the flappy ones don't do anything for me, and they look goofy. And hey, man, half of what you're doing, if you're looking right, you're going to be right.
And we just had a new panelist join us, Tarrol. Oh, he just muted himself, and he's back.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. So, former Army guy, retired now, so I got a beard, because that's mandatory what you do when you retire. You get a beard. So I got a beard now, and I still work around the Army and around the military, and I primarily do sniper training stuff. And I spent a little bit of time in the jungle. And it's funny, I listened to Jose talk about stuff for the jungle, and I was just having flashbacks of, Panama and those fun places. being wet. So
it sounds like
we
there's
could
a theme. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, by the way, Max just typed in. He just got home.
Oh, cool.
But I don't want to moderate, but hey, Justin, what's your thoughts? Just out of curiosity.
Well, pretty much, you stole a lot of my thunder. I agree with a lot of what you were putting out. One thing that you left out, which is another thing that we have done in the past, is no undershirt. Just another thing to trap body heat and keep moisture on your body, which is sometimes not the best thing, especially when you're talking prickly heat. And I have gotten prickly heat in the jungle, and it is the most miserable fucking time of my life.
Glad you said that, because I'll tell you what I do is I keep my undershirt inside my ruck, and at night I take off my top and I sleep in my undershirt, and it's always dry.
Yep. As far as you running your JPC as kind of a flick or a chest rag, I kind of stayed away from anything that covered a large swath of my torso, just because how miserably hot and humid it gets there. So one of the things, like going back old school, the LCE, nothing wrong with it. I mean, super simple. I even went as far as prior to my first trip down there, I had Tack Taylor take one of their was it Mavs and split the front, and then in the back put a little panel, so if I wanted to, I could put a butt pack there for patrols. And that actually worked out really well in both the Amazon and the Guyanese rainforest. I don't know the name of that one off the top of my head. Water, like you said, is a huge consideration. This is coming from the guy who went fucking black on water halfway through the first fucking day. And I'm talking, I had two quarts on me and like at least one or two Camelbacks in my bag. I sucked down some fucking water. Americans, we drink a shitload of water. The Colombians, you'll watch them, they'll just sip on their shit and water will last them forever. The thing that saved my... Okay.
Can I add something to you there? What I like to do in my ruck is I carry two quarts apart from the Camelback, which I fill the Camelback from my 2 quarts after my Camelback empties out from filling my 1 quarts. I carry those on the very bottom of my ruck. It flattens out my ruck, and I put my Camelback on top of that with the tube coming out of the left side of the top flap of my ruck. And if I can't, like I'm on the move and I'm going black on 2 quarts or 1 quarts, I just have somebody grab that hose and put it inside my 1 quart. You know what I mean? That's just what I do. It works for me. I just want to echo your LC. Let me tell you, dude, I wear the Vietnam style H harness LC that I got issued 1983. Exact same one, dude. I'm totally with you on that one, 100%. I hike it up to just under my tits, yep. Just under. And so my kidney pad on my freaking ruck, and I have a Tack Taylor kidney pad, just rides underneath it so the air can pass through. That's just the JPC one. It was an experiment, and it worked. I didn't like it for one reason alone, which was it doesn't interface pretty well or at all with a rucksack because of what you just said, the prickly heat. Yep.
To also add to that, the water thing, the one thing, like I was saying, the one thing that did save my life was the fact that, well, not saved my life, it wasn't that dramatic, but saved me from a lot of fucking misery was a steri pen. So I ended up having to, luckily I had some Nalgene bottles on me. I kept a cut up piece of undershirt to use as a filter for large particles and a rubber band to secure. I ended up having to top off at a more or less a swamp, right? Real stagnant ass water. Put that shirt on, filtered large particles, steri pen that thing like twice, dropped like an iodine tablet in it, and no shits. So it was great. On the packs, I made the mistake of taking that 3-day Mystery Ranch piece of shit that group issues. That is one of the worst packs I've ever used. Going back to the real simple, stupid fucking technique is the goddamn Alice pack, man. And not the extra large that, you get issued in the 82nd, or used to get issued in the 82nd. We're talking like the simple large size rucksack, because you don't want it to protrude much past your back, because then you just start getting hung up on everything. Outside of that, boots, I actually I went all over the place in Colombia trying to find American-made jungle boots, and I ended up paying like twice what I could in the U.S. just because those suede boots are fucking garbage in the jungle. You want that all leather, you want that drainage, and I was willing to pay twice the amount for a good set of Welcos, and I'll tell you what, it saved me. Anything outside of what Jose said? I mean, he pretty much hit everything on the head, dude. It's yeah, I'd say you're about there, man. And no Fortrexes. Those old Fortrex, bro. If you could see my breadcrumb trail, it was depressing. Lots of gaps.
Yeah, it's map and compass time in the jungle, and that's a fact. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm so old school that even in Afghanistan or Iraq or other places, I think I've got a Fortrex in like 2006, and I don't think it's come out of my accessory pouch. I'm an old map and compass guy, and what's fucked up is when we stop for a security halt, and I go up to the center and I go, "Hey, hold on," and I put these things on to go, "Okay, where are we?" Because it fucked everybody up. It's like, what the f- are you doing, man? But hey, that's age. And then they go, oh yeah, hey man, you know where the fuck you're at. I'm like, yeah, but I got to put the glasses on. But yes, you're exactly right, brother. I was going to add to the jungle boot thing. I have like an abundance of from regiment. Max just got on, Matt, just to let you know too, by the way, bro. I have an abundance of jungle boots. And dude, I take care of them like they're some kind of gold. And the main reason is because of the jungle operation thing. And I just, and the other, this is a misnomer. And the guys over in freaking Chuck's old unit in Delta Force, as they like to say, they don't polish their boots. They're leather jungle boots, and they go to shit. Put polish on your freaking boots, dude. Your boots when you're in the jungle. You stop movement. I'll be honest with you, I carry a little thing of polish, and it helps them dry out. And it also freaking it helps them dry from the moisture, not dry out from, and not get scarred up from the shit that's going to eat you on the ground in the jungle. The jungle is trying to eat you. That's the main thing to remember.
Yeah. And then your mosquito head net. Yes. The mosquito, and this is no exaggeration, I damn near have PTSD from the fucking mosquitoes down there. They're that heinous. I have had mosquitoes bite me through mosquito netting down there. Like, imagine what you have, we'll say Louisiana, down at Polk, North Carolina, wherever, and just magnify that by like 3-4 times.
And the worst one I've ever been in is in Belize. I've never seen mosquitoes like I saw in Belize. And they were actually penetrating my head net. And that was scary. I thought they were nuclearized or they'd been atomized by some kind of nuclear explosion somewhere, because I don't know how or what, or if they kind of morphed and were able to get in between the little mosquito. But I actually had mosquitoes inside my freaking head net, which was the most bizarre thing I'd ever saw in my life or seen in my life. But it does happen. So I'm telling you, if you got 2 of them fuckers and you're in Belize, wear them both,
Hey, Jose, I got a question for you. This is a
Sure.
slight tangent.
Uh-huh.
What's the Ranger Hall of Fame?
It's really it's what it sounds like. It's the guys that really in the Ranger Regiment that are I'll say in the Ranger community. Max is from the Ranger Regiment, although Max was an RTB also. I was never an RTB. I was just in the regiment. But it is an acknowledgement of a stellar career and a stellar person. More than anything, it's really a stellar person, which is why Max is in the Ranger Hall of Fame. he's had a stellar career, but dude, you're not going to find a better person. That's just God's honest truth. And that's why the Ranger Hall of Fame is such an important thing. It's a huge accomplishment, and it's an incredible, I'll say, award, if you will. I don't want to call it an award, but it is an acknowledgement of what you are, not just who you are, but you actually are what Ranger Regiment, Ranger Department creates to be the example for others to follow.
So basically, he embodies what a Ranger should be.
Yeah, in every way, not just in deeds, but in his way of life, how he talks to people, how he's treated people, how he's led people. His reputation. That's what the Ranger Hall of Fame is all about, and that's Max to a T.
So with that in mind, welcome, Max. Thanks for joining us. Oh, you're muted. I don't think I can unmute you. Nope, you're still muted. Most likely on your screen. Still not there. Yeah, I wish I could. He's pulling a Jose Gordon right there. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, my apologies for being late.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Hey, thank you for the kind words there, Jose. My brother like no other.
So tell us about yourself.
Well, I served 26 years in the Army. I had the privilege of serving in all three of the Ranger battalions, as well as the Ranger Regiment. I served jumped in a grenade with 2nd Bat, Bravo Company, 2nd Bat, back in '83. I served in the RTB, or the Ranger Instructor, in the 2 areas, when I had the Morgan team, the committee groups, and I was a plank bearer for when they became the RTB. So I had the opportunity to be history of both parts, the committee groups and also to the RTB, and also served when there's just only 2 Ranger battalions, and coming into the regiment and serving in 3rd Bat, Charlie Company 375. So it's been a fun run.
And you have an IMDb page.
Yes, I'm into acting. Right now, we just the Black the Web series is award-winning. It's an award-winning web series. As a matter of fact, it's playing tonight on the Armed Forces Warrior Network, and so we got season 1 and season 2 finished, and it has a lot. It has the military veterans, and it has Miguel Vega. He's a SEAL who served in I think it was at SEAL Team 3. Did some tours in Iraq, and also have Andre Jackson. Andre Jackson was he's a former Marine, and matter of fact, Andre Jackson, he's playing Simba on Broadway in New York, and so that's kind of crazy. And it's been a fun run, and also getting ready to come out with Texas Zombie Wars, and also Zulu 6, the big thing, the zombie genre, and it's been a crazy ride.
Cool, very cool. And for those of you that are listening that can't see, Max also has a beard, so I'm seeing a trend here.
And also, by the way, Max would make SEALs jealous with his IMDb page. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
If there's any SEALs out there, hey, Max overwhelms you.
So far what we've talked about are things that have been remarkable to you about how to prepare for being in the jungle. What are some things off the top of your head that are important to you if you were to go into a jungle environment?
Well, what's crazy is I went to JLTC. I did 5 rotations of the JLTC. And the first time I went down to the JLTC was back in 1978. And when we deployed down there, we deployed with, I wasn't in the Ranger Battalion at that time, but we deployed down there, and we had the old jungle rucks from Vietnam. And I tell you, the jungle is one of the most inhospitable terrain that you can possibly operate in, and it'll eat you alive if you're not prepared for it. And a lot of the things that I learned from being in the jungle is that the jungle could be your worst enemy. It could be your friends. You don't move at night. It has a lot of environmental critters in there, everything from the jungle ants, black palm, sandbox trees, Kudaman days. And the jungle, if you're not ready for the jungle, it eats you alive. And I heard Jose was talking about the jungle boot. And the jungle boot's probably the best boot the Army ever produced was the jungle boot. And I've seen now that they have the jungle school over in Hawaii, and they started, I read in Army Time, they're looking for a new jungle boot. All they do is just bring the old jungle boot back. There was nothing wrong with that boot. I mean, it had the Panama sole. The best boot I ever worn was that jungle boot, old school jungle boot.
Hey, can I say something about the jungle boot piece, especially on the equipment part? Because that's kind of one of the things that we were working on with the 25th Lightning Academy guys was Ron Bly, 235 Star Major, ran the academy, calls me and says, "Hey, Jose, where do I get jungle boots?" I go, "We gave them all to the Colombians, dude, because I already tried." So the Colombian Army, Kolar, and Justin, you probably know this because that's what they wear down there. Not just the Colombians, but we also gave them to the Hondurans. We gave them to the El Salvadorans. We gave them to the Guatemalans. We gave them to the Mexicans. We gave them to the Venezuelans, believe it or not, back in the day before Hugo Chavez. The Ecuadorians. We gave them to the Brazilians, the Chileans, the Argentinians. We gave them to everybody. The only ones we probably didn't give them to is the Peruvians because they run around barefoot. But the thing is that the U.S. inventory was literally empty of jungle boots.
Oh, they depleted it, huh?
They depleted them all. And here's the kicker. Here's the worst part. So I'm working with Colonel John Bryan at CIE, at OCIE, which is soldier survivability equipment. Oh, what's it? SCIE, Soldier Combat Individual Equipment. And he, I called him up. I said, "Hey man, jungle operations starting to kick off again. This is 2011-ish, 2012-ish." And no, it was more like 2013-ish because Ron took over 235 in 2013 because he came out of Delta. Ron came out of C Squadron Delta and got promoted out. So he takes over that battalion. And Max, you might remember Ron. He was up in RD when we were in regimental headquarters. You and I were at regimental headquarters. Yeah. So anyway, he I started calling, over to SCIE to find out, hey, where's our stocks? It was easier for me to find war stocks of M1 Garands, M1 carbines, and 45 freaking, I'm talking about Remington Singer 45 freaking caliber freaking pistols, 1911s, than it was for me to find jungle boots. I found a total of 222 jungle boots in the Army inventory.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. So that started the entire, I didn't have anything to do with it. That was soldier survivability equipment, but they had to start a boot program to come up with a new jungle boot. And the regiment was starting to operate down in South America, obviously because Justin's guys were already down there working for years. And Justin, you can chime in here if you can from 7th Group. I don't know if you guys had freaking jungle boots at all.
No, so the only jungle boots that we had were ones that individuals acquired themselves. The only thing that I believe, the only thing that we were able to get through the system, and most of the time it wasn't even of the right sizes, were the BDUs.
Right. And that's another piece, because remember we were using ACUs, right? Which I can tell you that ACU story, that abortion that happened in 2005-06. But that's a podcast, brother. That's another completely different podcast with General Moran and PO Soldier. But they were using ACUs. And when they did the jungle trials with ACUs, 7th Group, I went down to Panama from AWG. I went down to Panama because they wanted to try what they were calling Scorpion, what the Army was calling Scorpion, and ACUs. Those were the two finals. And ACUs glowed in the dark in the jungle, right? The thing with the ACUs in the jungle, or the thing with camouflage does not make you the predator. One day we will get there. But camouflage buys you time. It gives you that much time to get the jump on the bad guy, or if the bad guy's better concealed than you, to get the jump on you, right? So ACUs wasn't letting our guys get the jump on anybody, but freaking maybe freaking some circus animal and freaking Ringling Brothers, because that's what it looked like. It looked like Mama's circus tent. Is what it looked like in the jungle. It looked like a big giant circus tent. We're walking through the jungle. So BDUs was the option. because it was the only thing that fit in the jungle. And actually BDUs, the tricolor BDUs, or actually the 4-color BDUs, work fairly well in the jungle. And the only other one that works even better, and Justin, I don't know if you guys got them, was the OG 107s.
The best uniform, OG 107s are the old school Ertles. Best uniform
and
for
when
jungle operations,
and
very durable.
When we did our camouflage trial in 2009, to Afghanistan, that finally led to multicam being, Scorpion W2 or whatever the hell they're calling it. We actually tried OG 107s, and Natick found that OG 107s are probably the best base color for a wooded jungle type environment. That's what they found. If you look at the Israeli army and you talk to the Israeli army, you ask them, hey man, why do you guys wear solid green uniforms or OG type uniforms? They'll tell you, because they're the easiest uniforms that you can modify, camouflage. They fit in everywhere. If we have to go somewhere that is not the desert, they work. If we have to go to the desert, they work. So I don't know, Justin, if you guys and Max, I know you and I wore the OG 107s, and the other ones that the Army did have an abundance of was, remember, Max, when we first came in the regiment or battalion, we only had 2 battalions back then, if you remember when we came in.
Yeah.
Remember we got issued the original Vietnam style.
Yeah, the Ertles.
Jungles. Remember those?
Yeah.
Those are amazing camouflage in the jungle. Amazing camouflage. And if you look at the Cry G3 camouflage color pattern, you look at those and you compare those to the Vietnam style, and you talk to Caleb Cry, he'll tell you he kind of patterned the color. There's a couple of modifications to his colors, his color palette. It's kind of like a variation between multicam and that. And I'll tell you this, the only other thing I'll say about camouflage piece is multicam can work very well in jungle. It absolutely can work. What we found was multicam works 80% of the time in all environments. It doesn't work in particularly one environment, but it works 80% of the time across all environments, whereas every other camouflage pattern that we tested may work 100% in one environment only, but it won't transition to the other environment. So you're better off wearing multicam than wearing, say, ACUs in the jungle. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. ACU is one of the most worthless uniforms I believe the Army ever produced. Absolutely worthless. You can't even give ACUs away, to old Army Navy stores.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. So my first trip down to Colombia and even down to Guyana, BDUs were fair game. BDU, we took one set of ACUs, and that was usually for ceremonial bullshit. My second trip down to Colombia, 2011, they put the kibosh to that. Fucking Mill Group said, you know what? No. Each service will wear their respective uniforms. So us Army fucking slobs got stuck wearing ACUs, and the Colombians refused to take us out with them because of it. Where you had the NSW cats working up on the coast who had the benefit of either wearing BDUs or their AOR pattern uniform.
Yeah, their AOR2 pattern is excellent. And if you notice, Justin, don't you think the Colombian uniform is kind of a variation of the AOR2? Did you notice that?
Yeah, I would say like a combination of that and maybe the Marpat.
Actually, I think you're right. It's more of a Marpat-ish AOR2, but it's digital, which is square. Yeah. Okay.
I just so happen to have a pair sitting in my Contico.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll tell you that, especially in the jungle, in camouflage in the jungle. Wow, what a transition! How did we get here, Matt? I have no idea. What? I'm a segwayer from hell. But anyway,
you started with camouflage in the jungle. We're just heading right back around.
I have no idea how we got here, but camouflage. The thing in the jungle is there are no square, linear, straight lines in the jungle. There's just everybody goes, yeah, but branches. Yeah, but look at the jungle. We have these things. I forget what they're called. This NRL, Naval Research Lab. Jimmy Bellamar, he's the camouflage guru of the world. I mean, that's his bailiwick right there. And I think it's called what's it called? Yeah, anyway, it's a board. And it's a board that he carries with him, and he puts it in an environment, and he takes a picture of the board against the environment. And you can, from that board, it's got all these different colors and patterns, extrapolate, okay, which one's going to fit. It's very, so you can actually pick it out. And the one thing that sticks out that your eye does not like when you do the what's known as the color and picture, it's a color and picture test. The one thing that sticks out is what I started calling square camouflage. There ain't nothing square in the freaking jungle. You want to stick out in the jungle. And even the Colombians, their stuff kind of sticks out if you get, I'm going to say, and Justin, you correct me on this, within 50 meters, if they're not dug down deep, you might catch them when they're moving a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd agree. One thing I will definitely give them is their color palette is on point. Yeah,
it's the color palette that saves them. But the deal is, you should use soft edges, like, multicam is configured, and like the BDUs. The reason why the BDUs we think works, look, if you take the black out of the BDU from the jungle, everybody thinks it's in the shadows. You don't necessarily need the shadows in the jungle. We found, at least on the picture, the color and picture test, you don't necessarily need the shadows, because the shadows make shadows. That's just, dude, don't ask me. I'm not a scientist. I'm a freaking, dumber than a box of hair, but I understand that shadows make shadows. So you don't need something to facilitate making a shadow. But the soft edges messes with the cones and the rods thing in the eyes. And the softer edges are rounded edges, just rounded edges. They call them rounded edges, softed edges, whatever you want to call them. Actually blends in better, especially in a leafy environment. That's the key. Leafy environment, because you don't have squared leaves. Point out a square leaf in the world. I mean, I've been, Malaysia, Belize, Ecuador, Panama, Guatemala, freaking Botswana, South Africa. I haven't seen a square leaf. That's just me. I'm a sample of one. I always tell you, I'm a sample of one. Ask around. Maybe there is a square leaf.
You're absolutely right, Jose. You're absolutely right.
So I'm just saying that when it comes to camouflage, rounded edges, soft edges work way better. And the BDU pattern, believe it or not, BDU pattern's a great jungle pattern. And it blends in. It almost blends in. And Justin, I don't know if you guys think this, but I almost think that it blends in a little better than multicam in the jungle.
Yeah. So my experience, I did a little test of my own my last trip into Colombia, where I took what little BDU or multicam material I had, because at the time 7th group was very anti multicam because it wasn't fielded, and I threw it in the jungle, and I was quite surprised that it did not blend as well as I thought. And I did notice that the BDUs did blend just a little bit better. Now, I would like to see how the multicam Tropic works out. That color palette looks like it might even top BDU.
Yeah, I think you're right. In fact, I think Chuck's old unit might be wearing it. Their recce guys down in the jungle might be wearing, because our guys that are embedded with them, we have to issue them we have the Cry G3 jungle. What do they call it? The jungle. Or they don't call it arid. Arid is the desert. Maybe they do call it the jungle pattern. And the tag tropic. Yeah, the tropic pattern. That's it. Sorry. They like it. And I know the guys at Dam Neck, the guys at Little Creek, not the guys, but the white guys. No racism involved here, guys. Not black, white, not that kind of thing. Just freaking the black side of the special operations community and the white side. But
I'm in a show called Black. Black is back.
Black is back and better than ever. But I think they might be using the tropical Cry Precision G3 combat uniform. I think. Don't quote me.
I think some elements of 7th group might be as well. I think I would almost put money that C37 is up on that. But right. They also draw some of their stuff from the black side, right? So they have that benefit.
Did you ever meet a guy in 7th group, Justin? A guy by the name of Scott Campos.
Scott Campos. That name does sound familiar.
He retired out of the unit up here in Northern Virginia. Then he came to us and worked for us for a while. He led the jungle effort and did a phenomenal job. He's the guy, really. I got to pin the rose on him, who kind of brought everybody to realize about, especially the jungle, the Cry Precision tropical uniform. I give him credit for that because he brought it to my attention. And I was an naysayer. I was like, whatever, dude. Whatever. And then I started talking to the guys, down at Range 19, and I started talking to, the guys at CDD. I started talking to NRL, Naval Research Lab, who works with Dam Neck. They were like, no, dude, it really works. It works really well in the jungle. So that's when we decided, hey, you know what? We're going to buy a full fleet of Cry jungle tropical uniforms, rather, for the guys that embed. It's the B Squadron. Our B Squadron has that area of responsibility, and I believe it's B3 B troop or 3 troop B Squadron has that area. They all have that uniform. Thanks to Scott Campos.
Good. Now maybe you guys can, maybe influence the big army to get smart about it, especially if they're starting to put such an emphasis on this jungle thing that they decided to let fall to the wayside some years ago. Yeah.
I think, to be honest with you, I think the Jungle Academy, the 25th guys, I can't remember the new guy there that took over for Ron, but they've got a huge amount of influence, and I believe their recommendation is to go to, and again, you got to remember Big Army, and I'm going to throw freaking nomenclature, and you know this, Justin, P11 money and P2 money, right? You got Big Army P2 and soft P11. I think the Big Army wants to, like they did with Scorpion 2. Scorpion 2 is multicam -1 color, right? They want to take that tropic color and make it -1 color so that the Army can own the TDP, the technical data package, which, hey man, whatever. It actually works out better for Cry because they want, it's a side story, but they wanted to buy the jungle pattern, or excuse me, the multicam pattern from Cry Precision, and they only offered them $25 million. I mean, $25 million, that's the company. That's Cry Precision, the entire company. They're practically, 5 times that a year. That's how big that, well, it's not a huge company, but that's how much money and influence they have. And they only offer them $25 million. So I think what the Army might do, I'm just talking historical. I am not read on. I'm not filled in. I'm not dealing with Colonel Bryan, even though he's still there and he's a great dude. He's a former regiment guy, as a matter of fact. But I think they are being instructed or directed, if they're going to go to that 3-color or that tropic color blend, they're going to do the same thing they did with multicam, offer Cry the money. They're not going to take it. Then they will take out one color or change a design, if you will, and then call it the Army's new jungle uniform.
Scorpion dose.
The pain, the horror.
Not to go completely off the rails here, but that's also one of the big reasons on the Mark 17, the modular handgun system.
You're exactly, brother. If I could tell you the stories of that freaking, of going through the requirement for that in the conflict resolution matrix, what they call the conflict resolution matrix, where people have input, I can tell you that was a 368 page requirement document. Normally, a requirement document's about 7 to 11 pages, maybe. 368. I had 368 just myself, right? Because I was one of the reviewers. I had 227 pages of comments of 368. So it kind of tells you that I was trying to do due diligence. I gave up at 227 because I was like, you know what? This is all for naught. But yes, that's a perfect example.
Yeah. Well, and just because it's relevant, and we'll get back to it real quick. But that was one of the reasons was, and they even said so in some of the resolution of the whole Glock business was, hey, SIG was going to be easier about giving us the TDP and working with us on that, and Glock wasn't, and that was a very important thing on top of the price. So, okay, back to jungle combat.
Hey, Jordan, can you tell us about Ameriflage?
Oh, only the most effective camouflage ever produced, used only by tier 0 operators. I'm gonna have to take off my pants now, aren't I?
If anyone's not familiar with the camouflage, check out Carnik Con on YouTube. It's hilarious. Jordan has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay, dumb question. I think I have an idea, but we're about dumb questions. You specifically mentioned no armor.
Yep.
And I'm going to guess it's a factor of heat and humidity and probably degradation of everything, things falling apart.
Degradation
Why?
of mobility.
So it's a purely mobility issue?
Oh, no, this is a combination of everything you just listed along with mobility. Again,
Okay.
you got to think you're going through very heavily vegetated areas, a lot of things to snag you up, a lot of things to wear you down. Last thing you need is armor. And I'll be honest with you, that armor probably isn't going to help you much, especially when you can't see your enemy more than 3, 4, or 5 feet in front of you.
And I'll say one other thing is that, just to echo what Justin, or expand on what Justin is saying, we ran our own internal evaluation. 5 of our guys wore their JPC's full plates, soft armor package that we have. Ours is in conjunction with package. We either wear the Velocity VPZs with the the new M98 soft armor from SOCOM, or we have the Spear 5 plates, which are great, phenomenal plates. But when we x-rayed the plates, and it's not about shock, it's about temperature variation. What we figured out, okay, understand, I ain't a freaking engineer. Big disclaimer. So I had to kind of extrapolate, but temperature variation affects the plates. They're ceramic plates, okay? And in the jungle, and Justin and Max, please chime in, but in the jungle, you're going to have temperature variations during a daylight movement. It's just depending on where you are, you're going to have a temperature variation, and it's not so much.
Especially the humidity too.
Exactly.
Humidity.
Exactly, and that temperature drop and rise, constant drop and rise, puts stress on the panels within the ceramic plate. Whether you're wearing Spectra, Dyneema, or a blend, right? And those start to separate, and they create fissures within the substrate, and that substrate then starts to separate from the armor backing. That's the first thing on the plates. The soft armor, most importantly, gets eaten by bugs. Okay, remember this. I found all kinds of bugs in the freaking soft armor packages of these guys. Remember this, the jungle's trying to eat you. And I mean, in literal sense, the jungle eats, and please, Max and anybody else, Max and Justin, but the jungle, anybody who knows anything about the jungle, and I've been operating in jungle since 1983, it tries to eat you, and it tries to take you down and eat you. I
have a saying, Jose, everything in the jungle bites.
Everything, exactly.
Everything, the mud, the leaves. Everything. Something to sting you, bite you.
Yep.
Poison you.
So I run across a lot of guys who have never operated in the jungle, obviously, right? We have been doing this shit for a while. And I always caveat every conversation I have with, the jungle will butt fuck your soul.
I'm going to use that, dude.
The jungle, I would operate in almost any environment but the jungle, because it is that miserable.
It's funny, but I love the jungle. I hate to say it. I don't know why I do. It's
because you're a ranger and you love misery.
I got to piggyback out for you on that, Jose. I love the jungle.
See, another ranger agreeing with you.
I love it.
But I can hide.
Except for the rat piss sphere.
Yeah, and the dart frogs. I hate dart frogs. But in
bullet ants.
In bullet ants, oh my God. But actually, I was going to talk about the soft armor package. I found bullet ants back in the rear, in soft armor packages. And I was like, and they were literally in between the substrate of the soft armor and the lining of the soft armor. And they burrowed in there, and they dropped eggs, which is the worst thing, So you don't wear armor in the jungle. Look, body armor, and this is another topic, another modcast, but I said this back in 2008 when we started the Soldier Load project. Body armor is a misnomer, okay? In Afghanistan, where it all started, I was in an ambush, 3 dudes killed. It was up in the Waigaw Valley. It's a very famous ambush. I happened to be there. Long story short, 3 dudes killed. The dudes that got off the X, I was towards the back. The dudes that got off the X were all the Afghans in their little flip-flops, man dresses with one magazine stuffed in their freaking belt and an AK-47. They got off the X. Every guy from the 173rd, we were going back up to Ranch House. Every guy in the 173rd, they got whacked. Couldn't get off the X because we were carrying we were carrying 72 hours worth of load. And before we left, or before they left, we left out of Able, Maine, out of the COP right there on the edge of the Korengal and the Wygall Valley just across the Pesh. They it's called the Bella Ambush. You can look it up online. But in any event, they were wearing body armor to hell. I had my plate carrier. I had back then we had the MBAVs, and I had a plate carrier, and I had 4 magazines and a freaking assault pack, the rest of my mags, and I was able to move. But those guys weren't, and they got whacked. So that started this whole thing. What I'm going to tell you in the jungle, and I'm going to say this back then, in those places, there's these things that we have that are called rocks and trees. That's body armor, okay? In the jungle, you have trees. You have bushes. They're not cover necessarily, but they're concealment. So you have to use your concealment properly to get away from people seeing you. If they can't see you, they don't shoot you. So that's your armor in the jungle, especially. Trees, bushes, low-hanging freaking vines. Get out of the way, man.
Yeah.
Somebody can't.
Shadows.
Yeah, exactly. That's your body armor. So in the jungle, I'm just going to tell you, everything that Justin said, Max will say, and anybody else here will say, in the jungle, you have to make the terrain work for you, not work against you. Body armor prevents you from working with the terrain in the jungle. That's the bottom line. And the terrain is all-encompassing. It's the landmass, it's the vegetation, it's the humidity, it's the environment. That's the terrain in the jungle, more so than any other location I've ever operated in.
Another thing, too, about the jungle, you stay wet. You're constantly wet. Your gear. And I remember, the monsoon season comes, you stay wet. It rains for around 20 minutes, then it stops, the humidity kicks in. But you constantly stay wet. So to wear body armor out there in that type of environment, you start chafing, and it calls for a lot of problems.
Prickly heat.
Yeah, prickly heat. Yeah, the prickly
heat. You get it one time, you'll never want it again.
You'll never, exactly.
Never.
And as Tarrol's saying, prickly heat will freaking destroy you. I mean, I got it one time in my life, and I did everything I could not to ever get it again. And the thing is, and you remember, there's certain areas that have mangroves, right? Mangroves. And in a mangrove, you don't get out of, everybody's, oh yeah, we're going to move through the mangrove. Yeah, most mangroves that I've encountered are 3 clicks, 4 clicks, 5 clicks long. You can move through a mangrove in a day. God bless you, Godspeed, good hunting, God on you, because I can't. So mangroves, you're wet. You're in water up to here, and you're sleeping in it unless you can get on a route that's not, because the tide comes in and it fills in the mangrove. So you're on the root of the freaking mangroves, and sometimes you can get on them and sometimes you can't. So you keep moving at night through those things because you can't stop because you're going to drown or you're going to freaking freeze. And, you're good. So you're going to be wet the entire time.
That actually, that statement right there you just had might actually be a good segue into planning.
Yeah.
Planning for a jungle operation. Holy shit. If you, back here, say at Fort Bragg, where, the brush is pretty minimal, just nothing but fucking pine trees and pine straw. You're moving, 10, 12 clicks in a day. You're not covering, you'll cover, if you have a good day, a quarter of that in a day.
Exactly.
I mean, your period of visibility is even limited in the triple canopy.
Yeah.
So, say out in the town, it gets dark at, we'll say 8 o'clock, right? Well, in the jungle, you might as well just count for 3 hours before that it's getting dark. Same thing with sunrise. I mean,
yep.
It's another 2-3 hours, you'll start getting light in the jungle.
Yep.
And you're not moving. I believe it was Max said, you're not moving at night in the jungle. It's just not happening. You will die.
Yep. Yeah, Max, you remember we were operating in Honduras on the border in the mid-'80s? Remember we were rotating?
Yeah.
When 3rd Battalion was coming online, 1st Battalion would go for 60, 2nd Battalion would go for 60. We go in and out, right? remember that SF camp we operated out of in Trujillo, right? We planned for a 3-click movement to our ambush positions. We planned anywhere between a 24-hour movement to position. That's only 3 clicks, guys. That's it, 3 clicks. 24 hours to get there. So you had 8 hours in the day that you moved, and then you sat overnight, and then you moved another 8. You sat overnight, you moved another 8, and you got in position. And then we waited overnight, and we hauled ass back, and we moved about 12 hours, sometimes in the twilight, to make our freaking point to come inside the wire. So we would be out for a total of 7 days, 6 to 7 days, so we could minimize that time. But you plan for that because, as Justin was saying, you don't move fast in the jungle. It just doesn't happen. So you have to plan so far ahead, which today, and I'm going to say this, today's Army planning processes don't account for that, because the officers in ILE and the officers basic course and CGSC and the War College, they're looking at BCT operations and maybe as low as battalion, maybe down to company, but only the soft community is looking at 4 to 6 man elements, or maybe a 36 striker platoon assault element, maybe that much, but not more than that, because you just can't move that many people in the jungle. And you can't move that. I mean, think about moving 151 strikers through the jungle 3 clicks. I mean, it's going to stretch 3 clicks. The entire 151 dudes in a Ranger company is going to stretch 3 clicks, because that's how long it takes you to move out, So it's really, the planning process is absolutely paramount for jungle operations, jungle movement, let alone jungle operations. But a jungle movement, it's absolutely paramount. You have to back it off so far and plan anywhere between 5 to 7 days. I mean, that's just my rule of thumb. Although, and Justin, you can adjust me on this. In Colombia, the Kolar is really good at moving and getting to their positions and getting out of them. But they suck at planning, getting to their positions and getting out of them. I don't know. Do you got anything on that?
No, that sounds about right. I think the next thing I'd probably add to that whole conversation with the terrain would be you better plan for a contingencies for a breaking contact, because it will happen. A little story of mine was I was OCing the Bacoa, basically the Colombian Commando recce element, and I was following behind the trail guy. And he's doing what he's supposed to do. He stops, he turns around, checks his 6, turns back around, continues on, and does this periodically. Well, just out of pure habit, I'm doing it as well. Also, I turn around and I check my 6. Don't ask me why. I'm a fucking OC on an exercise. But as I turn back around, I'm looking at this dude, and he has this look on his face that does not instill confidence in me. He starts doing 360s, looks back at me, and just shrugs his shoulders. In a period of about 60 seconds, we had a break in contact with the rest of the element. And I'm talking a break in contact within 60 seconds that we were not able to link back up for the remainder of the day. We could raise each other on radio. We could not walk each other onto each other's positions. So finally, after about 30 minutes of attempting to walk each other in, and I'm sure we were only maybe like 25 meters from each other, we said, fuck it. You know what? We're going to meet at the ORP. We all had the grids. We'll meet there. But 2 guys, and I'm just an OC, so I'm not in play. So we're talking 1 guy breaking contact, having to move through the jungle, quote unquote, enemy territory, to link up with his dudes. Like, that's a bad day, especially for that 1 guy.
Yep. I'll tell you a similar story. We made the mistake one time, and Max, you might remember this. You probably heard about it in 275, but in 175, we were trying the concept, because remember when Regiment came on board, Stringham, after he took over for Downing, he wanted the long overland movements, right? So we tried a long overland movement in the jungle, just at the platoon level. So there's 41 Rangers, 41 strikers. And we said, well, we got to get to where we got to go to get in position, because that's just what we do. We're plus or minus 30 seconds on target. So, hey, man, we got to keep pushing overnight. Well, that turned into laying out our Claymore wire as a guide, taking every Claymore we had in the platoon, tying the Claymore wire together, separating the Claymore wires from the Claymores, taking them out, and covering up the blasting caps, tying them together to make a fixed rope installation to guide the people who had broke contact to where we were. Because you just don't move at night in the jungle. And if you don't plan well, you get stuck in a situation like that. Guess what we did after that? We never did that again. I'm just saying, you learn one time in the jungle. And if you make it out, that's your lesson. If you didn't make it out, you at the pearly gates, you go, yeah, I learned my lesson. Can I go back? And, he's going to say no. But the bottom line is you learn your lesson one way or the other,
But yeah, we talk about a lot of these lessons learned. Real quick, Motty, being in the Deuce, if they ever decide to start dabbling in the jungle game again, all these lessons learned that we're talking about, you are going to have to discover for yourself, because your leadership will do what they want to do, ignore common sense, and you're going to find out the hard way like we all did.
Yep.
No, little segue plug in Sunday night's talk. I did. We tried moving in the jungle at night, a video game once.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
2 squads. We ended up walking over a cliff and all dying.
That tells you right there.
Falling 40 feet into the jungle.
Actually, that almost happened in real life with the 7th group team. They decided they were going to try to move at night under nods, and they were lucky. The lead guy under nods was looking at the ground and was like, man, that just does not look right. Couldn't find out he was standing in front of a fucking gorge.
I've seen that happen before. Trust me.
Yeah. And this is under nods, by the way, which, again, if we haven't discussed it, don't work for shit in the jungle.
I did a tour. I did a tour at the 101st, and we operate down in Panama. And so the young PL wanted to move at night. I said, sir, I highly recommend we don't move. We need to, establish our patrol base. It's getting dark. Establish a patrol base, and we'll start movement, first light. But he insists on moving. And so I said, let me take points that have the most experience. And so I'm creeping. And he up there saying, hey, we need to hurry up. And I said, sir, you don't move that fast in the jungle. Because you had those jungle wasps, right? And the jungle wasps don't have those wasp nests way up in the trees. They down low, around shoulder level on down.
Low. Oh, yeah.
And so even though jungle wasps, right? So he took charge. He started, just hauling through the jungle. And I'm behind him. And all of a sudden he stopped. I heard him he's trying to be all, stealth and so forth. And I heard him screaming. And I took off running. We came back, everything went white light. I saw him laying there, and then big old, gigantic, must have been about a basketball-sized wasp nest on the ground. Wasp buzzing around at the low crawl. Put a 120 around his, around his rucksack, snap blanket in, and had to drag him out. And had to call in the medevac. Medevac lowered the jungle penetrator. He was going to anaphylactic shock. And I told the guys, hey, let the jungle penetrator hit the ground for the static, for the static. 2 guys grabbed it, got zapped. So we wind up evacuating 3 guys that night.
That's what happens in the jungle. That right there,
Only in the jungle.
Right there is a synopsis of a jungle operation. And that's a successful lesson learned. I got to add that, okay? That's
very painful. Very painful lesson learned.
Hey, Max, what year was that real quick?
1979.
All right, so imagine this. This is on the heels of Vietnam, where you still had that knowledge.
Yep.
Imagine that shit now where we don't. That only knowledge that we have is strictly in the soft community. And I'm sorry, I don't count what the jungle school has as pure knowledge. That's dudes who went to a school and now is regurgitating what they learned out of school.
And you know what? The guys who taught Max and me, I hate to say it this way, this is really aging. We're all Vietnam vet guys, Foxtrot Rangers, India Company Rangers, Hotel Company Rangers, November Company Rangers. And they're the guys who taught us. And they taught us stuff like how to lay your equipment out in the jungle when you're in the patrol base. You don't put your rucksack, with, butt down. You put it frame down, and you never, like little tidbits, you never open the top flap. You kind of like reach in the top flap, knife edge your hand in there, kind of unzip that thing and feel around for what you need. But don't open your rucksack in the jungle, because Justin, Max, you guys, Tarrol, you'll know this. Shit gets in the rucksack, man.
Oh yeah. Everything
gets in the rucksack. And then the next day you're going to go in to grab some chow, and you're going to get bit by a dart frog, and you're going to get medevaced or whatever, So they taught us shit like that, how to lay out the LCE so you can get in it quickly. If you're in a hammock, how to put your weapon down so that the magazine is facing you, so that if you get hit in the patrol base, how you can roll out of your hammock into your freaking weapon. And, you've got your LC laid out and you got your magazines right there. You don't try to put your shit on. You just try to get down and provide some kind of freaking return fire. I mean, little tidbits like that, how to pack the ruck. Like I told you about how I put my 2 quarts down in the bottom of my ruck with my camelback, horizontally across, because you want the bottom of the ruck to be weighted so that when you take the ruck off, it rolls over onto the frame nice and quietly. Because the jungle is another piece. On the tactical side, carries sound. And everybody thinks, yeah, but there's all kinds of jungle sounds. Well, let me tell you something. The jungle sounds are not human sounds. And human sounds are very distinguishable in the jungle. So you have to be very careful, like unzipping a rucksack, which is why you don't unzip the rucksack. You just knife edge your hand down underneath the top flap, because it carries a long distance. Little things like that the Vietnam Ranger guys taught us, and the Vietnam SF guys taught us, that carry through, which is why I'm still doing what I do, is because my job is to make young soldiers into old soldiers. Lessons that I know. So that's the point in all of this, is these lessons that you're going to have to learn again, Maddie. I mean, I hate to say it, they're hard lessons. But the one thing I will say, and Max and Justin, you guys can chime in on this, the jungle is a very personal experience. Okay. And everybody figures out how to lace their boots, what to wear, what not to wear, how to pack the ruck, how to wear their LCE, how not to wear their LCE, how to wear it, what to put in it, what to carry in it, how much water you want. Me personally in the jungle, well, actually I do it all the time now, but I stuff I tuck my shirt in. I tuck my shirt in the jungle, but I don't blouse my boots. Everybody goes, what? You don't blouse? No, I fucking roll my boots up. Or I roll the cuffs of my pants up because I want to breathe. I want air to pass through, but I tuck my shirt in because I don't want shit getting down in there, because the back of your shirt's going to hike up, little things like that you have to personalize and figure out for yourself, that I got taught. And, I ain't going to be doing this. I'm 56, man, and I got to take an APFT next week, believe it or not. And all I got to do is breathe on a mirror. And I go, yep, you max the PT test. But no, I'll max the PT test. Come on, man. But anyway, the point is that there's only going to be, guys like Justin, me, Max, Tarrol, only going to be a few of us around much longer, have to carry over, because the bottom line is the jungle is not like any place else you're going to fight. Oh my goodness, yeah.
The piggyback on that, Jose, I tell people from my jungle experience, and when you go into that jungle, it takes around at least 1 to 2 days to really get comfortable in there, because the sights, the sound, the smell, you get that claustrophobic feeling.
Yep.
And, because you're moving out, normally here in the station, move out, you got open space, but in the jungle, you don't see open space unless you go to a high hilltop.
Right.
But you just get that claustrophobic feeling being in that jungle, the sights, the sounds, and the smell. I said, you'll be surprised how far you can smell a cigarette. A certain body smell, you can smell it. It just, it's hard to explain, but.
I mean, there's certain places where you could smell the village 3 clicks away, and you think it's like right there,
I think guys forget, moving through the jungle, you can't force it. You're not going to beat the jungle. You can't force it. You can't be like, I'm going to chop my way there because I got a machete. I remember being back at drum, and guy was sharpening his machete. He'd sharpen machete all day long, and he'd put a nice paracord handle on it, and he's like, I'm going to chop, this thing's perfect. And I think he chopped for about 20, 30 minutes, and then he realized that we hadn't gone anywhere, and it was just probably better just to figure a path through the jungle, work with the jungle, and not try to beat it, because you're not going to beat it.
Yeah,
You just can't.
You're exactly right, Tarrol. This is not Commando and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, I mean, if I had a chainsaw, I'd use it in the jungle. I would, because I hate moving through all, and I'd chainsaw my way through. I don't care if they can hear me. I got a gun. That's the way I look, and I shoot better than they do. But that's just me, But you're exactly right. You got to work with the jungle, and you cannot allow the jungle to dictate. You can't try to dictate to the jungle.
Don't panic.
And that's the big one right there.
Now people have a lot of misconceptions about the jungle. They see these movies, the guys have the safari shorts on and the short shirt. I said, oh, hell no, not in the jungle. No, no way. They walk with the shorts, the bush hat on, a T-shirt. I said, ain't no way in hell you'd be walking like that in the jungle. No way. Listen
to the Vietnam vets watching that movie Platoon, and they go, yeah, we didn't dress like that. We, they got that from some pictures of, guys not like in the eye drain where it's kind of open, it's kind of foresty, but not in the jungles that they operated in. They put their sleeves down. They freaking, they cover everything they can cover. They tuck their shirts in, the whole 9 yards. They don't blouse their boots. They leave the cuffs undone so they can breathe. But yeah, you're exactly right, Max. You're 100% right.
Hey, what about I don't know if y'all discussed this. What type of rucks they're using in the jungle now?
Is that for me or Justin or Tarrol?
Anybody, rucksacks. What they're using.
I mean, what I saw was kind of, and I'm coming from the SF perspective, so nothing's really standardized in SF. It's all fucking whatever nonsense dudes want to use, right? So some guys would carry Alice packs. I took my Alice pack with me, but I also took that piece of shit, Mystery Ranch, and I took that one in the jungle my first time, and that was the one and only time I made that mistake. The minute I came back from that jungle, that thing never left my attic. Right. But I stuck with the Alice pack, and I even went out and got a smaller size Alice pack for ease of movement, and I still have that thing to this day.
Yeah. I feel that the Alice pack's probably one of the best rucksacks the Army ever produced.
I'm an Alice pack guy. I was talking about that with Justin earlier. I'm an Alice pack guy, Max. And I don't wear none of the new modified. I modify my own Alice pack. I do it myself. Mm-hmm. I get on my sewing machine, which is like right there. I get on my sewing machine and I just do what I make my mods. Because me, dude, you remember Gordy gear in the regiment. I had all the Gordy gear. So I modify my ruck, and it's a standard Alice pack. Like I said, because in the jungle, you need air. Air movement in the jungle is critical.
Yeah, that's why I am a big fan of the external frame. For a lot of guys hate the external frame because it's old and outdated, but in the jungle, it works great for that airflow that an internal frame just will not give you. I think it's about to be show and tell time with Jose.
Oh, he's going to get something.
Okay, so this is the Mystery Ranch that you're talking about, the 3-day assault pack. This is the first one that Dana made. I made it for the soldier load piece. And if you notice right here, the bolsters, these are bolsters right here.
Yeah.
Those are to go over the body armor. They don't work good in the jungle because it goes against your body.
Not at all. I will tell you, they were the bane of my existence for the next, 24, 48 hours.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Those were not meant for the jungle. They were specifically designed for a place where you're going to use body armor. And I was thinking Afghanistan because the commanders were not going to get away from letting the guys walk around without body armor. So I said, okay, I called Dana Gleason at Mystery Ranch, and I said, hey, dude, here's what I'm thinking, something that stands off, and that's what he came up with. And I gave him a dimension for carrying 3 days worth of equipment, and I gave him a packing list, and that's what they came up with. And it works great only for that. So keep that in mind. The jungle, okay, I'll say it like this. Things you wear in the jungle will work other places. Things you wear in other places will work in the jungle. You see what I'm saying? It's easier to go from the jungle to somewhere else. It's not easy to go from somewhere else to the jungle. The jungle is a very particularly place,
You guys ready to talk about guns?
Oh,
That's what I was going to get at. It's like, let's get to what started this, and that's the jungle gun.
Okay, so I don't know if any of you guys remember. I think this may have been on Life Fighter, but Chuck really nailed this one down with your firearms setup in the jungle. A bare bones M4 goes great. In that jungle, I don't think a red dot sight or any form of optics is really that beneficial, and it's just another hindrance. And Jose, you might disagree. Iron sights, I think you're just fine.
I'll tell you from my perspective, and I'm a red dot sight guy. In the jungle, red dot sight doesn't work, or any magnified optic or any unmagnified optic. Why? Because there's humidity. What happens with humidity? It gets on glass. What happens when humidity gets on glass? You can't see. You bring the red dot up to freaking shoot somebody, and it's all humidified up. That's why I don't like. What I do is I take my T1 that I've had on my gun since 2008, my work gun, and I take it off, and I just use my iron sights.
Yeah, if all the operating jungle environment, iron sights all the way.
Yeah, it's much easier. And I'll be honest with you, I draw my carrying handle out of the arms room when I went down to Columbia, and everybody's like, "What the fuck are you going to do with that?" I'm going to put it on my gun. I use my carrying handle, sights on my carrying handle, and it worked just fine.
Oh yeah. Even given the opportunity, I would even strip my my rail off and go back to the old school plastic handguards.
Yep, and that's another thing. Bare bones it, and Max, you're exactly right. The iron sights. And Tarrol, you're a shooter. You know the deal. In the jungle, any kind of optic, it's just not going to work, man. And here's the thing. If you need the reason why I do take a red dot optic, and it's on a LaRue 660, so I can take it off, and it's going to not lose any zero. But if I get into a situation, an assault situation, and I'm not an assaulter, I'm a freaking operational advisor, so I'm not an assaulter. But hey, man, I'm embedded, so I might have to. So the bottom line is, if I were to get in an assault type situation, I'd put a red dot on at literally at my last covered and concealed position at my LCP, because, okay, now I'm going to probably use the red dot, in an open area, so to say. But moving through the jungle, and I may not even do that. I'm just saying I may not even do that. But in an open area, in the jungle, any kind of optic, you're literally screwing yourself, because the humidity will just cloud that optic over.
And I would even go as far, like I know earlier in the discussion, you had mentioned pistol, no pistol. I always left mine behind. I never took it. I didn't find a need for it. If there was a need for it, I would probably just substitute it with another magazine or two.
What I did with my pistols, I normally, this is just what I do. I don't have like first line gear. I just carry a pistol. I don't even carry a magazine on my. I have one of those. The SEAL Team 6 guys gave me a Galco leather belt, one of those nice belts that they have, and everybody's like, leather in the jungle. Actually, it works really well. Nylon rubs me crazy, but the leather belt works good. And I just put a pistol on there. I can't remember. I think I put it in our Safari Land holster, the ALS that they gave us, and it worked fine. But I have. When I can't remember where it was, maybe it was Columbia. It doesn't matter. But we stopped one night, and I looked around. I was like, I can't sleep with this thing, And I took it, put it in my rucksack, and I forgot the next day that I had it in my ruck. And I moved throughout the next day into the night, and I was like, oh shit, where's my pistol? Oh, it's in my ruck. I'm good. I never put it back on. You know what I mean? But I did try to wear it, and it wasn't that it was rubbing me, but when I went down for the night, is where it mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that sounds really piffy at this point. Okay, you can't sleep. Well, dude, when you're in the jungle and you try to roll because you can't sleep in a hammock, because, the Colombians are really good at getting to hilltops. Justin, you're really, that they'll go up a hilltop, man, to get to a place to sleep pretty doggone well.
Yeah.
And you can get to the top of that hill. You're going to sleep pretty good because the ground's, a little better. So you may not use a hammock, and if you don't, you're going to sleep on the ground and rolling around in that thing. And if you're using a hammock and you get in with a pistol, try to get out of the hammock. Good luck,
Yeah, actually, on the whole hammock piece, one thing that they are a big fan of, and that was a good lesson learned for myself, is when they are in their hammock, they will dummy cord themselves to their hammock. And you're like, why? You're not going to lose your hammock. Yes, but if you get up at night to go take a piss, you'll walk 10 feet away, right?
Yep.
You'll turn around thinking you're walking back to your hammock, and you will spend the rest of eternity wandering the Amazon, wondering where the fuck you're at.
That's why we laid out that Claymore wire at night, because you'd think
It was just your 550 cord, reel yourself back in.
Yep. So yeah, that's.
And what we used to do too also is like we'll just have one hammock out, one man pull security while the other man inside the hammock.
Yeah.
And we kept the hammock around shin high off the ground. It wasn't way up in the trees. It kept it real low on the ground where you just roll off. You can roll right behind your rucksack and assume a position.
Right. That's exactly right, Max. That's what we did. Same exact thing for us. Exact same thing. One hammock per team, and you just rotated through as you were on security.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Motty.
Matty, you're muted, bro.
No, you just muted yourself on the screen.
I read lips, and you just asked, "Can you hear me?" No, we can't. I do read lips because I'm old and I can't hear, and I don't wear hearing aids. I'm too vain.
Oh, no. You are not. It is an open-faced hammock. The only thing protecting you from the elements is your uniform buttoned up as much as it can be, and your mosquito head net. And either gloves or your hands are in your fucking pocket to prevent mosquitoes to get from getting to those.
I roll my sleeves all the way down. I leave my gloves on. I take my collar. I roll it up, pull my mosquito head net down, and it's got that little cord right there, and I sleep like that in the hammock, dude. It's hot, but guess what? Sleep. Yeah.
100% the way to do it.
Yeah, I always kept three mosquito head nets. I kept one in my. I'm serious. I kept one in my cargo pocket.
I'm with you. Exactly.
I kept one in my cargo pocket in my pants, one in the cargo pocket in my shirt, and one inside my ruck. Because you never know. You got to bail out. You got to have that mosquito net.
Yep. Absolutely. I totally agree. Mosquito head nets in the jungle are like tourniquets anywhere else. I carry tourniquet here on my kit. I carry mosquito nets so I can do the same in the jungle. Here. I would, but I only have 3, so that's what I carry. I'm just like Max. I carry a lot of mosquito head nets.
What about slings on rifles?
I use one.
Yes.
And is it made out of anything special?
No, not mine. Yeah.
No, just use the regular sling that's attached to the weapon. I'm not in the jungle. The high speed single point release, all these other releases. Nah, that's just regular sling.
Yeah. Old school black nylon Army issued sling does just fine.
I because I'm a gear geek. I use the VTAC.
Gear whore.
Yeah.
Prostitute.
I know. But I use the VTAC sling. I like it. It's always worked for me. It goes with me everywhere. The only other sling that I tried, and it does work for me everywhere else but the jungle, it's called the MDOM, maybe EMDOM. Is it the gunslinger they call it? Great sling, phenomenal sling. Not too good in the jungle, though. One of the reasons I don't like it in the jungle, it's a little too wide. It's a little too wide up here for the jungle, and anything that rubs you in the jungle, it rubs you in the jungle exponentially. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna sling a weapon in the jungle, don't sling it during movement. That's a good point. I don't sling it during movement. I sling it when I stop and I got to rest. I'll just take it, throw it over, and I let my gun hang. But when we start moving, it comes off, and I start moving with the gun. I don't know, Justin, if you do that, but anything in the jungle that rubs or Max or Tarrol, anything in the jungle that rubs exponentially in the jungle.
Yep, I concur.
Keep that moleskin, baby. Keep that moleskin with you.
Oh yeah. And don't wear socks. I don't wear socks. Some guys wear socks. I don't.
So I did the sock technique. It wasn't the best. When we had to cross creeks, my feet weren't happy. So not wearing socks is the best method. If you know you're going to the jungle, probably best to, in advance, toughen up your feet.
And one thing I will say, and Max, Justin, you guys might have done this. Tarrol, you might have done it too. I carry tennis shoes in my ruck because at night I let my boots dry out. I keep them with me, but I put my tennis shoes on because your feet are gonna freaking like go to shit. But I put my tennis shoes on and my feet dry in my tennis shoes.
Yep.
And tennis shoes don't weigh shit. And oh, by the way, if they get wet, you can hang them out. Put them outside of your ruck the next day and they'll dry out. But and don't take the fancy Solomon, just dude, back in the day, Max, you remember the Chucks, right? The
Chuck Taylors.
Yeah. You remember they used to give us those, man. We all carried Chuck Taylors and we would boot black them black because they were white. Remember that? We boot black them black because you can't wear white.
I remember I had a pair, I don't even think they make them anymore. They were called Beta boots.
Oh, the Beta boots. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Betas. Yeah, that was a good boot. The Beta boots. And
right.
I would keep a pair of cheap flip-flops inside my rucksack too, just a cheap pair.
Yep.
But I got to be honest with you guys, I was a sock man, believe it or not. But the best sock was I would only wear wool socks, the old OG wool socks. Right. Best pair of socks ever owned with the wool sock. Because they dry out real fast, and I had to worry about the friction point on my feet.
You remember, you know who broke me of wearing socks or broke us of wearing socks was a name from the past, another Ranger Hall of Famer, Don Purdy. He was the Purd. He was my platoon sergeant, man.
Yeah.
So, hey, Ranger, don't take those socks. Take them off, you stupid fucker. That's just how we talked. And I was like, Roger that, Sergeant. I'm a Ranger E1 private. Hey, Roger that. Take them off. And then I thank God for that, man. Yeah.
And you got to take care of your feet in the jungle. If your feet go, that's it.
Yep. I'll go first if you guys don't mind. I slightly modify my normal Vietnam H harness issued back in 1983 LC. I got it somewhere here. But instead of the old ammo pouches, I get Eagle ammo pouches plus the Cry ammo pouches, but I take the Eagle ones that are the dual stack. Because I found I don't carry a whole lot of magazines anywhere anymore. I just don't. I carry all my magazines in my back. But on me, I try to be as thin as possible or slim or in the jungle especially. Back in the day, we didn't have a choice. But now I put two of those on my left side, right? And I put one right here just on the inside. It's like the old school. I have it's a paraclete pouch, but it's the same thing as a first aid, the old first aid button, snap button pouch where my compass goes on my left side. Then on my right side, I have the exact same pouch. It's a grenade pouch. And I sometimes put one of the little, if we have them, the little Belgian grenades, or if not, what's already in there is my signal kit. And I carry a VS-17 panel in there and a whole assortment of chem lights that fits in there. And I don't carry a full up VS-17. It's a VS-17. It's about the size of my computer screen. The axis, about the size of this one. So it's maybe, I'm going to guess, 11 by 15, folded up and rubber banded. And then to the right, on my right side going clockwise, to the right of that ammo pouch, I have my radio, my M-biter, or my 152 now, right over here. Then over here I have an accessory pouch, and which is really my med pouch. And over here I have a 1-quart canteen right on the hip. And I go all the way back around to this side. I have a 1-quart canteen. And right there I have another accessory pouch that has the rest of my signal stuff that does have a Garmin, but that Garmin is only used in an emergency. And then to the right of that, or just forward of that, I have a small 6x6 extra pouch that I carry. A leather, not a Leatherman, but one of those tools and a couple other things. An extra compass. I carry the compass in there, and I use that for my maps. And then I have my 2 ammo pouch. I carry a knife on me, a blade. I carry a fucking Mad Dog. I think it's a Pygmy. I carry a Mad Dog Pygmy on my right, on my left side on my belt. And then if I carry a pistol, it'll be on my right. But very rarely do I carry a pistol. And I carry, like I said, if I need to double stack the magazines, at least I'll have 6 and 1 in the gun. So that's your basic load. But normally I carry 3, 1 in the gun, and the rest are in my ruck. That's my loadout. And the one thing I do is on this side, my non-firing side, I carry my freaking my tourniquet, because I do carry tourniquets. I still carry tourniquets. Now, I do carry a collapsible pouch on the back, but it's not a butt pack. It's the bigger, thin, like paraclete ones. I can't remember what they're called, but like a 6x9 maybe, or 6x pouch, and it goes across. And if I need to throw something in there, because we're doing something else and we're staying at, we're dropping rucks in an ORP to do something else, then I can put stuff in there, and then ask somebody to get shit out from my back. I say, hey man, I got something in that pouch, get it out for me. You know what I mean? That's about it. Does that help?
Yeah.
But I'll let Justin, why don't you, and then Matt, I'd say you guys chime in too.
I'm not going to tell you one way or the other which way you should go with it. The LC, as simple as it is, does have its limitations. It's great in the jungle because it is so simplistic. It may not necessarily work so well in, say, Fort Bragg, where a chest rack, you can get away with a little bit more bulk on you because it's not as the vegetation and terrain isn't as heinous, right? As far as the butt pack goes, you don't necessarily like the old LCE butt packs that were just pretty decently sized. They're not small. You don't need anything that big. I generally kept something big enough to maybe put like a wet weather top if we were stopping for a while, or maybe a broken down rat fucked MRE and the wet weather top. Yeah. Like I've seen the kit that you're referring to that the Brits run. I don't know how well that works, but it looks a little ridiculous. That's a lot of shit around that torso. I can only imagine how uncomfortable that could possibly be in the prone. And of course, that's a lot of shit that gets snagged up on in the jungle. So same thing I did with the LC that I did with the modified map that I had is when I had to go into the prone, because I did the split front, I would unbuckle the front, string it out to the side, lay prone, and my mag pouches are laying upwards so I can still access them.
I'll add to one thing. We are trying out the Velocity system. Nelson Rodriguez from Velocity. It looks pretty promising. I haven't tried it out yet. We're going to try it out. I know the guys down south and at Range 19, they're using them, or they're trying them out. Maybe they already are using them. But here's what I'll say about Nylon. It's not rocket science. It's nylon, guys. Everything else is patterned after the LC. As Justin just said, it's not rocket science. We're not talking brain salad surgery here. So the LC is as simple as it gets. And although the belt itself can rub you, the LC belt itself can rub you, and the buckles can rub you, there's other options out there to replace the belt, but use the suspenders, the regular LC1 suspenders. Even if you use the yoke one, I like the H harness one. That's just what I got issued in 1983, and I never gave it back. Max, don't tell CIF I'm not giving it back, but the point is that system is so simple and so easy to use and configure, and it's so manageable, and it's got so many options aligned with it. You know what I mean? And that's what you need in the jungle. You need simplicity. Anything difficult in the jungle, again, is exponentially difficult. You know what I mean? But Justin, when you configure, how many magazines do you normally carry in the jungle?
So when I did it back when I was doing it, I was running no more than 6. I would have 2 double stack mag pouches off to my left of the buckle, and then 1 off to the right of the buckle. And at most, like I said, I would maybe run 6.
Pretty much exactly the same as me. The only thing different, or not different, the only thing I do is on the inside at the buckle there, I put my compass on my left, and I carry that 1 pouch on my right that I can throw something in, but it's normally my signal pouch, because I want to grab my VS-17. I want to grab my chems. I'm going to grab the mirror. I have a little mirror in there, signal mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that right there.
I wish I could remember how. I know with the LCE, I would run my compass pouch to the left of the buckle before the mag pouch. I don't remember how I did it with the MAV, and unfortunately, it's packed away right now.
Yeah,
it's my old school LCE I have right here. This is old school, buddy. And so this is how it would rig to the front. This is my first aid pouch, M16 magazine. Have my 1 quart close to the side. And we would have my iodine, inside the 1 quart canteen part. But I used to like this old school male-female attachment, if you can see it. And what we used to do is to get the old 550 cord, hook it in there, boom. Laying in the prone, just take it off, unbuckle, lay LC out, get back up, just hook it back on that 550 cord. Can you see that, Jose?
Yeah, oh yeah, yep.
And worked perfect.
Yep.
Worked perfect.
Man, reminds me of my old Boy Scout belt.
old school butt pack.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not far from my old Boy Scout war belt there.
It's funny, but it works, man. Now it does rub you, but it works.
And what we used to do, I used to keep this between my rucksack frame.
Right.
We call it insulite pad, but it's nothing but old carpet, carpet padding, a small piece. And I would cut mine from my shoulders down to my low back, something to lay on, sit on in the jungle. Because you want to try and stay off that ground as much as possible. Lay it out front, lay in the prone, small piece.
And one of the greatest inventions that came in mine and Max's era was the bungee cord. Believe it or not, man.
Yeah.
Bungee cord, man. Good God, I've got on my ruck, I can count, I've got 8 bungee cords on my frame right now. And I put everything in between there, man, because you can quickly just throw my snug pack. If I got to boogie out quick, I can throw it right there. I don't have time to, put it in the top flap. That pad that Max has got, I've got one also. I put it back there. It all holds back there nice and neat. It doesn't interrupt the airflow. That's pretty much it for me.
As far as the LCE goes, to make it a little bit more user-friendly, I never got to benefit from the H harness. I always had that Y yoke, which it sucks. And the padding on that thing is ridiculously thick. So back when I went through the Q course, common SOP for most dudes would be to pony up the cash. I mean, you're going to pay CIF back, but you're just cut that padding off so that lays nice and flat underneath your ruck straps. and then you would replace all the meat hooks that attach to your belt with 550 cord.
Yeah.
That way those things ain't jabbing you right in the back.
Yep. Exactly.
And you also know,
Oh,
And of course,
I
Go ahead.
kept two compasses too. You know, I kept one on my LC. You know, that was my military compass. But I would keep my Sun 2 compass around my neck in my cargo pocket. You know, on my OG 107 shirt.
Right. I keep that compass that you're talking about in my pouch, not tied down. And when I put my kit on, that one comes out and goes. If I'm wearing a patrol blouse, I'll put it in my top shirt, or I'll put it in the side pocket over here, and I'll tie it down there. But it's on me. It's somewhere on me.
Well, what kind of compass you use, Jose?
A Sun 2.
Sun 2?
Sun 2 U9, and I also have the old Ranger Silva. But I don't use the Ranger Silva. The Sun 2 is tritium based.
Right.
We get the tritium ones, and they work phenomenal. They're like
I love the Sun 2. That's awesome compass.
It's an awesome compass, you know, and it's got the index bezel. So whenever I'm setting my nav, I can index, you know, at night. I can count the clicks, and I know, okay, I'm on a 265. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
I'm on a 135 azimuth, so I'm good, you know. And that brings us to navigating in the jungle.
bam. And I use, I've been using this little Sun 2 compass. I think I'm on generation 5 now. I carry these with me everywhere I go. This is always in my pack. And when I'm out working, I'll put this on my wrist. And it's really nice to have a wrist compass. I won't wear this ugly watch. I'll put on a normal watch, and I have a wrist compass, and I can look and go, okay, yeah, that is north. Because in the jungle, north becomes who knows where it is, just in a matter of 5 steps. Like what just happened?
Yeah, and that's a good point. What Tarrol brought up. I carry that same. I can't remember what wrist compass that is, but I have one, and it's already on my watch band. And I do the same thing. I take off this watch and I put on. It's an analog. I wear an analog watch in the jungle too, guys, because I'm old and blind and I can't see a digital watch, but I can see it's 10 o'clock right now. I same thing. Have that same Sun 2, and it's a general azimuth. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm heading due east. You know, and then if I need to get specific, then I'm pulling out that big compass, and I'm like, okay, I need to be on a 165 right now, or whatever. You know, or I need to be going 90. I need to be going due east right now. You know what I mean? And then navigating in the jungle, it's, to me, I never got lost. Yeah. But everybody else got lost. I knew where I was. But the thing is that you learn in the jungle to navigate by feeling the terrain, and it's little nuances that you have to figure out. For me, depending on where you are, but if you're looking at a map, what I do is the first thing I do is I orient myself to that map, and I go the high grounds to my left or the high grounds to my right, or, you know, I'm going to be walking down or I'm going to be walking up. And basically what I'm doing is I'm not counting the distance. It's, you know, I'm telling you right now, pace count doesn't work in the jungle.
Out the window.
Yeah. You have to time yourself. You have to know what your movement time is. And you go, okay, in about 12 minutes, I'm going to start moving up. And when your nose starts and your knees start coming up to your nose, I'm going uphill. I know where I'm at. Okay. And then when you start straightening out again, okay, I'm coming up to the top of that hill, you know, because you're not going to see, you know, but you've already got that. So I never went more on a map more than a click memory wise. And then I'd stop, or we would stop, and I'd look at my map and go, okay, the next attack point I have is, you know, 500 meters here. The high ground's going to be to my left. And I start feeling my left leg rising up. I'm like, okay, I know where I'm going now. If my leg's going to the right, we're starting to rise up. I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what the fuck just happened. You know what I mean? That's how I do
Right.
it, you know?
You know, I pretty much, you know, navigated the same way, Jose. But I tell people one of the most important things, you have to know where you're at, your start point.
Yeah.
You know, you have to know where your start point is at.
Right.
And when you're navigating in a jungle, I never rushed it. I took my time. And you got to be able to visualize and read that terrain, you know, and you got to get the feel for the terrain and the area that you're working in. Know when you're going up on a high elevation. And people have a tendency to stick to that map. I said the map is basically just a guide.
Right.
You know, the general vicinity that you're at. You know, and if you got a stream or river to your left, to your right, try and use it as a navigation point. Because as far as like trails, man, you got animal trails in there. You got all kind of trails. You can't rely on the trails. And those are some of the techniques that I utilized when I was in the jungle. Everybody fell off?
No, Justin, I'm waiting for Justin to chime in.
Yeah, no, this is not a subject for me. Land nav was never my forte. If someone's getting lost, it's probably going to be me.
Tarrol, you got anything? Because you were shaking your head.
No, I was just laughing because I happened to pull out this map right here, and as you can see,
Fort Sherman.
it looks like it's just a bunch of little squiggly lines and some green.
Yep.
But that map doesn't really truly represent what's on the ground very well. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm sure all those things are there, and they're probably a lot stranger now that we've been gone for the last 15 years, however long it's been that we gave it back. Stupidest move ever. But, moving in the jungle, learn how to read a map. Trust yourself. Don't think about your pace count's going to be off, because all the stuff that's on the map is going to be 5 times more on the ground, because they can't mapping it where they overfly over a plane and say, yeah, I think those things are there. So all the stuff is on the ground is not going to be on the map. So if you cross a little creek, you can't be like when you're on Fort Bragg, like, yeah, I just crossed that creek. We should come up to a fire break right here. Da-da-da-da. It's just real easy. It's not like that when you're in the jungle. You got to be able to say, wait a minute, that creek is not as big as it should be. So that's probably not even on the map. Let's keep on going. What direction is that actually flowing?
Right.
And if you see water, and if you have opportunity and you're prepared for it, every time you see water, you should be filling up and processing that water so you have more water, fresh water down the road.
Yep.
So if you have a way to process water, which you always should, iodine tablets taste like ass, but when you're really thirsty, they'll keep you alive. So iodine tablets, SteriPens works okay. They have the bladder now from is it MSR?
Yeah.
No, Platypus has the 2 platypus bladders.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
put the dirty water in one, and then it flows into the other one. And in 20 minutes, you got clean water.
Right.
So every time you see water, you should be processing water. If you even think about coming low, because walk another 2 hours and you're out of water, and then mission stops. We did a company movement back in 1990 when I was a drum. We went down to Panama, Fort Sherman, company movement. So we had one of the old medics that had been the FLA medic for a long time, and he fell out. So they called in a jungle penetrator. What's the rule of the jungle penetrator?
Let it touch the ground. That's that electricity.
Let it hit the ground, right? What does it do? It knocks a tree branch. You also should be away from it. So it hits a tree branch, comes down. The tree branch hits 2 other medics. So now we're down to 1 medic for the whole entire company moving through the jungle for the next day and a half. Brilliant. That was a great trip.
Sounds very similar to somebody else's story.
Yeah. But this was 10 years later. So
in other words,
it still happens.
In other words, the movie was rerun.
Yeah, it still happens, and it's going to keep on happening. So, moving in the jungle, process water, take your time, timing considerations. Sit that young LT down or that captain and be like, hey, sir, I know you want to be there right now, but that's not going to happen. And then people have this misnomer of the shape that they're in. I remember the last time I was down there, I was in right before they closed Sherman. We were the last unit to go through Sherman from drum. And I was in the scouts, and they were like, yeah, we're in great shape. And I'm like, we've been walking on the road. Walking down a road, doing a foot march down a road does not prepare you for walking through the jungle. So when you're walking on flat ground or even hills on the road, and you're not thinking about where your feet are going. When you're in the jungle, you have to think about where your feet are going, and you're side hilling half the time, either to the left. So the muscles that you're using and your legs are totally different than what you use when you're just bebopping down the road because you're doing PT and you think you're in good shape because I can do I got 60 pounds in my ruck and I'm doing it in, 12-minute miles, and I'm a genius. Get in the jungle, there is no moving fast. You have to step over logs and go under stuff. Absolutely. So that big top heavy ruck you have, it gets really heavy when you have all that weight above your head. So you don't want anything above your head. Because if it's above your head, it's excess weight pulling you in different directions. So there's a whole, we can talk forever about the jungle.
It's funny you mentioned.
You gotta rotate those crew serve weapons too.
Yeah, crew serve weapons and radios. If you have heavy big radios, because embitters are great, but I'm sure we'll be carrying heavier stuff because we want to talk further, or attack sat or whatever. And then you got to find a place where you can actually make a shot, because there's not a lot of, the canopy obscures everything.
Hey, I have a frame of reference question for you guys. So then, considering all of this, about what are your movement speeds? How many kilometers per hour, if any?
Hey, before we go there, Justin, I think, had a comment. Justin, you were going to say something. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah. Real quick. So it's funny that Tarrol talks about going up and over things. When I was down at, down on the tri-border, Fourth Arizona 2, right? It's the Colombians' version of Florida phase of Ranger School, right? It's their jungle phase, if you will. They had an obstacle course called the Piso de Equilibrium. It's basically their obstacle course, and we looked at it. We're like, this is it. Like, we're used to doing like the nasty naked stuff, and it's like, man, like, there is nothing muscular in this obstacle course. It was all balance, and none of it made sense to me until I went on patrol with them, and we come across, creeks and the black water where you don't want to wade through it. You basically find yourself deadfall and walk across it, and those little bastards just shimmied across it, and here was my big dumbass American self, like sitting here trying to balance my way through and basically falling in.
That's almost exactly like the obstacle course in Belize. It's all about balance. There's it's literally, you're crossing these beams and you're like, what the goodness are we doing here? And it's all about balance. And they make you do it in equipment. The Foreign Legion makes you do it in equipment so that you will understand what it's like to gain your balance with equipment on in the jungle.
Oh yeah, they put their Lancero students through it slick.
Right.
Then, because they do it 3 times, they do it slick, then they do it with their LCEs, and I think helmet, and then they do it with everything in ruck.
Right. Yeah. That's the same thing.
Did they emphasize teamwork, Justin?
No. This obstacle course was pretty much all individual.
Yep, that's the way. It's not like the remember the one down at Sherman at JOTC.
Yeah, the Green Monster.
Green Monster. It's not like that one. Although the Green Monster had some balanced stuff. The one they're making in Hawaii, and I haven't been out there. I'm just telling you what the guys our guys that have been out there helping them, is more of a balanced type Belizean, Colombian Lancero type course. It's more balance and learning how to. It's basically learning how to move your body over very terrain things or things in the terrain. So, Matt, you asked that question again. You were asking about movement time.
Yeah, about how much ground are you able to cover in an hour?
I'll tell you, my planning factor is an hour or about 200 meters in the jungle, and that's very ambitious for me. I'm just saying that's an ambitious movement. Justin?
So for someone like me that's 6'5", so that's going to be
okay. Plan about
that was a height joke.
At least, yeah. Plan about at least a day for 200 meters. You're sucking wind, No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know.
Justin, you got the most recent knowledge. Do you have a planning figure for movement?
No, I'd probably say it's about that same. You're not moving very fast. Even if you could, you just wouldn't anyways. It's a tactical environment, so you're going to do everything fairly slow and methodical anyways.
Right.
And so that's due to the terrain by itself. It's difficult to cut through, but also the possibility of literally stepping on someone that might not be friendly.
Something.
And you got to remember, it's obstacles in a jungle. Everything is an obstacle in a jungle, including the enemy. Okay, so the enemy gets a vote. Every other little wait a minute vine, just like every other dart frog, just like every other wasp nest, just like every other sloth across the way there. Any one of those things are an obstacle, and you just have to negotiate them. So your planning figures, your movement planning figures are, and I've seen it so many times. I've seen this movie where the guys are, okay, we got 3 clicks to go. It'll take us 5 hours. I'm like, yeah, good luck. You know, I literally go, good luck, guys. You know.
All right, so I'm about to hop off for the night, but I will leave you guys with one last thing that we haven't covered that I think is pretty important is communications in the jungle, not just like team internal, but out to hire. One thing that seems to fall to the wayside, and it even you look across the different SF groups, is some emphasize it more than others, is HF. HF is going to be that long-range communications that will break through that triple canopy jungle. Your SATCOM, good fucking luck. Your FM is going to be pretty much blocked damn near at every turn by just the vegetation. So you'll maybe get like a couple 100 meters out of that for just straight team internal. And then along with HF is understanding how to do those field expedient antennas, because you may not be able to just throw up some dipole or some long wire. You're going to have to string something up in a tree and bring that straight up there, like the old jungle antenna. What was that thing called? 232?
292.
292. There we go.
7 feet 10 inches needed for each leg.
There you go.
Yes.
And tell them which HF radio we use. That might be helpful too for Motty.
Okay, so for the big army, you guys are running the PRC 150, which is a Harris radio.
Correct.
Not the biggest fan of it, but you will be able to push 20 watts, which is quite substantial. And then what you'll see with your, like if you're working with counterparts down like in South America, is the RT 5800, which is basically the export model of the 150. So you be able to some interoperability with them. As far as the soft goes, we're running something much older, but much just as capable with less power.
Right.
Got a question from a communications guy. Is high frequency voice only, or is it data viable as well?
Well, ALE I think is the way to go. Obviously, you're just doing data on that one. If your HF ninja skills are on point, you can get away with single sideband, which is your voice. But your HF skills better be on point, because HF is a finicky motherfucker.
Yep. And you better have a good commo whacker in there who can understand HF. I'll tell you this. I have never been with a Colombian unit that couldn't get comms. Those guys, they know how to get comms. At least that's my experience. Justin, I don't know if that's with you, but I've seen them get comms in the most weird places. In that RT-58 that you were talking about, I'm like, I think it's better than our 150, and it's the exportable 150. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. I have no idea.
They're pretty on point with their comms. I'm maybe give some credit to the fantastic 18 Echoes who may have taught them in the past. I don't know.
But seriously, man, I've never seen them. You guys did a hell of a job, because I'm like, how in good God's name are we talking back to Ptolemida? What is going on here? What kind of black magic are we using? It's scary,
Yeah, and I will say, so if you're looking at the comms route, one thing I saw with the Guyanese when I was working with them, we provided them with the 5800s and some of the accoutrements that go with it, right, is there's a dipole kit that Harris makes. I'd never seen this before, and I was a 25 uniform commo guy back in the 82nd, and then an 18 Echo. It's a dipole kit that is super simple. It's along each leg, there's tape that basically tells you what frequency it'll work best at. So you can kind of be slightly retarded and figure it out.
So basically, as you extend the dipole, it's like graduated. It tells you what frequency to tune it to. Is that what you're saying? Leg.
All it is, on each leg, it's like they're almost like tick marks.
Cool.
But with numbers, right? So
right
as you start unfurling it, it'll say, okay, this is 20 or was it like 35.00.
Right.
But it's broad numbers, so it's not going to get down to like the point 150s, but it gets you in the ballpark.
Right. Wow. That's actually kind of slick.
And they're not heavy.
Wow. And
we may have came back with a few of theirs.
Hey, who makes them? Do you know?
Yeah, that's a Harris product.
So Harris makes them?
Yep.
Wow. Because don't the Colombians use a lot of the Israeli radio technology?
So I'd never seen it until my last trip. They had they had actually acquired a lot of Israeli stuff to include that new plasticky Galil.
Right.
Just on a quick glance, it didn't seem too impressive. The radios they had, real bare basic, but they do have a lot of American stuff. I mean, they had the Harris 152s before SF did.
Yeah, I went to the radio factory, and I can't remember what the hell it was called. It was it's not in Tolomita. It's just outside of Bogota, as a matter of fact. And I was impressed with how they were putting together the radios. And all of them, every one of them was an HF radio, which is kind of weird. But it does make sense where they're at. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and it has to be. And you have to like you guys were saying, you have to have a comms guy who understands HF. Like I said, I hold 2 comms MOSs, and I still scratch my head from time to time with HF. And then it's also experimenting and becoming creative, because sometimes like I said, HF is real finicky. Sometimes your antenna is just not going to work. It's a theory, right? So you could create this perfect antenna. The numbers are 100% correct, but it will not work.
Right. Right.
But tapping into that tree may get you that combo shot. I mean, we had an Echo make a comm shot, HF comm shot, by using a wire, a nail, and just tapping into a fucking tree.
That's crazy, dude. Again, I'm talking black magic voodoo, freaking, roll the chicken bones type stuff. That's crazy right there. That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing.
Well, before we go to the next section, I think Motty needs to take off. So before you take off, do you have any questions or anything you want to bring up or?
Well,
and I've been told also your audio doesn't come through on YouTube for some reason, so I think I'm going to need to take the audio track and re-edit it. So good times. I don't know why that's happening that way.
Hey, Motty, just so you know, I'm on the global, so you can hit me up on the global, and look me up. Jose.e.Gordon. You'll see it. And just I can push you all the stuff that we got from the unit that we've been working with the 25th guys that'll help you guys out. And Eric Carrillo is a great guy, the division commander. And Mike Ferrucci is going to be your SAR major. He's another good dude. And if they need to reach out, they know where I work because they know me, and they know that. So let me know if you need any more info there. Okay.
Yeah. I'll reiterate or repeat the same thing. I'm on the global, only Justin Motto in the Army. So won't be too hard to find me. All right. All right, guys, I'm heading out as well. You guys have a good night.
Hey, thanks, Justin.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Man, thanks for joining, man. That was awesome.
All right. Have a good night.
Yep.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think we might be winding down. Does anyone have any topics they want to cover, though, before we do?
The only thing I wanted to ask Jordan is, Jordan, did we cover the gun stuff enough for you, bro? Or do you want to cover a little bit more before we bail out?
I'm fine. I kind of kept up with all that.
I'd be interested in upkeep,
but
if you have to do anything special.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, maintenance.
I run my gun wet a lot, and every time
you have to. It's the jungle. It's going to be wet anyway.
Yeah, come on, figuratively speaking, come on. But every time I stop, I carry a little cravat in my freaking cargo pocket, and every time I stop, doesn't matter if we're doing a quick security halt, even when we're doing a map check, and I'm waiting to get called up, I'll freaking stop, get on a knee, and I'm grab that cravat, and I start wiping my shit down. I try not to wipe the oil off, but I absolutely wipe more towards the muzzle, moving my way back, starting at the muzzle, moving my way back. Especially with the Riz 2 rails that we have on our freaking M4s, you can't get into the nooks and crannies. One thing I will say, rail covers, when you're in the jungle, if you've got a full length Riz rail covers will save your life, will save your gun. Okay. Rail covers are absolutely critical. They get into the nooks and crannies of the 1913 rail. Dude, you ain't getting that shit out. Okay. And it's going to stay there for my gun, Columbia, now for freaking 4 years, 5 years, about 4 years. It's still got marks and dings and little freaking areas that I didn't cover on the rail. You have to use rail covers, especially in the jungle. If you're using a full size rail system.
Do you put anything on the barrel to protect the muzzle or to stop things from getting inside?
I just oil it. No, yes, I do a dust cover. I do a regular dust cover. And guys, just so you know, you don't have to take the dust cover off unless you want to preserve it. If you have to shoot, you can shoot right through the dust cover. Go right ahead. It doesn't blow up. Okay. But if I can, I put a dust cover. Not always can you do that, though. You can't always do that. I have shot through my dust cover before, and nothing happens. Okay. The bullet still goes out and it still hits something. Okay. Anything special
you need to do with magazines or ammunition?
Magazines, I wipe the hell out of the top down when I get stopped. Once we're in, I won't take the bullets out. Don't make that mistake. Do not do that. But I just look at them real quick to see if there's anything in them. If there is, I take the top one and I just wipe it off real quick, put it back in the pouch. Don't touch them again.
I always kept them bullets down in the pouch.
Yes.
That way they, less chance for them anything to happen.
You read my mind. Bullets down in the pouch for me. I beer can my bullets. I beer can my magazines. I don't index like most people because I just grab them like this. The old magazine pouches, same thing, Max. You remember we used to put them bullet down, and I beer canned them. Beer canned them, pull them in, magazine change. I don't do the index. I just don't. It's just the way I do it. But so I beer can my mag change, and so the magazines are going the wrong way according to every gun guy out there who knows about how to train people and is a Delta Force, extraordinaire gun trainer guy, but whatever. So I beer can my mags. And I do that for all of my rifle mags, and I do it even on my jungle rig.
Now, you guys you made it very clear you don't move at night. Very clear.
Do not move at night.
We don't move at night in the jungle. Did we make that clear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, when you're stationary, are you running night vision or anything like that to hold a perimeter?
Good point. Yes, absolutely. That's the only time I take my night vision out. Okay. Other than that, I try to keep it as stowed as possible. I don't carry it on me. Some people go, what are you, whatever. Cause it's more cumbersome on me, other than when I'm wearing body armor and I'm saying in Afghanistan or anywhere else, I do carry my nods on me. Okay. But in the jungle, no, they're in my ruck.
Are there any special considerations for batteries? Keep them in Ziplocs or?
I Ziploc, waterproof. Absolutely.
Everything's waterproof. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Batteries, I don't waterproof my chem lights. You don't need to waterproof chem lights. Okay. But everything else that I need to use will be waterproofed. You know.
Did you mention if you carried? Oh, go ahead.
Actually, I try to treat my ruck and waterproof my ruck because the wetter your ruck gets, the more it starts to get heavier and heavier and heavier because that's a lot of nylon.
It's
like a big green, just wet bag on your back. Okay, everything may be dry in it because you got little dry bags, but if your ruck isn't waterproofed, then that thing just, you know, I try to waterproof my ruck so the water will at least shed off of it and it wouldn't soak up so much water.
Yeah, it's called physics. You know,
yeah.
Isaac Newton just had it down, man. It's like, hey, man, gravity works. And it does. Water gets on that ruck, fills it up, and it soaks into the nylon. And you're never going to totally waterproof it. By the end of the trip, you're going to need to re-waterproof it. But I got my sealant somewhere, but I use it. Just like Tarrol said, I use it. I waterproof the hell out of mine before I do something with it. Because of that, you want the water to run off of it because it will weigh the hell out of it down. That's a lot of nylon back there.
Very cool.
Yeah, and piggyback on what Jose said about the NVGs, I never pulled mine out. Never. You know, I always relied on my night vision. Because I tell you, people want to know how dark it is in the jungle. I said, close your eyes.
That's exactly right. And what does night vision need to work? It needs ambient light.
Yeah. So
you're only going to get, and even with today's, you know, our farm rate on our freaking PBS 31s, we have some very high farm rate. Like mine are rated at like 2,300 farm. Even with those, I don't have enough. And Tarrol, you saw the 31s we have at the unit. You know, even with those and they're white phosphorus, man, as Max said, you're not going to see any further out. I mean, it's the only reason I have them on the top flap is if push come to shove, they hit us at night, I'll see muzzle flashes with them. You know what I mean? And I'll be able to discern muzzle flash direction. And more importantly, I'll be able to use my PEC 15 or my LA5. I'll be able to use my laser. I'll be able to silently kill them. You know what I mean?
Cool. Okay, so before we wrap it up, anyone have final words before you do your closing argument, your closing thoughts?
Yeah, don't walk at night.
Even in the suburbs. And based on this, I'm guessing socks and underwear are not good birthday or Christmas presents for Jose.
Oh no, they're always good Christmas presents. I give them to the freaking the Goodwill, man. Every homeless guy's got a set of mine, man. I'm telling you right now. You know, hell yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. This was really cool. I suspect we might have a sequel to this. I don't know.
Cool, man.
As a matter of fact, it's cool. The longer these are kind of in circulation, because this is going to be in audio form, and there's also going to be a video form, and it's going to be complete and free for everyone to use. The longer these are out, people get more questions, and then they say, "Hey, what about this?"
Right.
We'll do another episode.
Excellent.
So, Tarrol, anything? Any final remarks? Any upcoming precision matches? Anything good?
No precision matches coming up. I'll be in Moyoc for the next month working, and yeehaw, fun stuff. But you know, precision rifle. You know, if you have to carry one, take your bipods off. Because I remember they had us carry our 24s one time through the jungle, and that was just awesome. So, you know, now you have instead of a 8-9 pound rifle, you have a 14-pound rifle that you're dragging through the jungle. That's even longer. And so everything that you can think of that's going to get caught is going to get caught. So your vines are going to catch on your scope. It's just a pain in the butt. So, but you can do it, and it does work, and the rifle does work in the jungle. It's real simple. All you got to do is make sure you put a little oil on the rings, because that's the only part that rusts, and keep your scope caps on it and tape them down, because they'll get rubbed off. And other than that, you know, I enjoyed this ModCast, and I think we can do some more, and I appreciate more questions, because it's great when the audience has questions and we can respond to the questions. And I hope Motty there comes up with some more questions, because I got a ton of answers for him. Maybe not right, but my answers at least.
Oh, no doubt.
Right
No
by
doubt.
me.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely going to have a lot of people are going to be posting, and yeah. Jordan, anything good?
Not really. I may be
Yeah.
having some stuff here soon. Got my eye on I got bit by the MP5 clone bug real bad again today, so
I read that.
there may be some stuff in the future to help that project along.
Poor guy. Jose?
Man, I think we covered everything. I appreciate you guys asking me to be on. I hope I helped, but
Oh, yeah.
thanks again. I appreciate it, man. I like these.
And Max, anything good coming up?
Oh, wow. Well, Black is out right now. Season 1 and 2. Texas Zombie Wars and also Zulu 6 will be premiering this year. Action, killing zombies is on the level of World War Z and Walking Dead, and a combination of Dawn of the Dead. It's really good. I think people are going to enjoy it. So look for those. But otherwise, I had a really great time. Good time. Hope to be invited back.
Oh, you will be. And I got to ask, how did you get into that? What was the connection? You retired from the military and all of a sudden you're in movies.
Well, I got called one day by Frank Zetti, and was I interested in doing Black? I said, sure. So I did season 1, then I was invited back for season 2, and then I got another phone call, said, hey, would you be interested in being in Texas Zombie War? So I started Texas Zombie War, then Zulu 6. I was in first episode of Agent X. That only lasted for a season. I started Sharon Stone, and just took off from there. And then I have 3 action figures out, and possibly another action figure coming out within the next couple of months.
See, that just shows that you made it.
Yeah, I'm like Richard Pryor, man. I'm trying to make it to the Apollo.
That is cool. Well, thanks, guys. I guess I'll do my little closing spiel. If you enjoyed what you heard, if you learned anything, if you appreciate our efforts, feel free to visit patreon.com/primary and secondary. That's where you can donate to the cause. The money that's collected there goes directly to the production of these videos. It also goes to, let's see here, we have some upcoming, excuse me, we have some upcoming projects where we're going to be working with InRange TV and Forgotten Weapons. If you're not familiar with those 2 channels, I highly encourage you to check them out. Awesome content, awesome material, awesome guys. Unfortunately, I found myself around 2 a.m. watching one of their videos, just like one of the memes said. And yeah, I should have gone to bed hours ago, but I just kept on watching episode after episode after episode. Great stuff. I love it. And I'm excited about our upcoming collaboration. It's going to be cool. So we have that Patreon thing. We are also on YouTube. We have lots of videos. As a matter of fact, this is going to be on YouTube. We are actively streaming on Spreaker Radio. We do have pretty much, let's see here, at least the last 17 or 18 episodes are all available on Spreaker. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. We are on, let's see here. I am forgetting one. iHeartRadio is a big one, and Google Play Podcasts. So we are definitely branching out. I appreciate everyone listening and providing some good questions. We do have active chats when we're doing this live, both on YouTube and on Spreaker. I think that should do it. This Sunday, I personally am kind of excited about this because it's going to be a fun topic. We're going to be talking about video games, and we actually have some cool guys they're part of these podcasts on a regular basis, and they're video gamers, and a lot of people don't understand. Some of us kind of like video games, so I think that should do it. So with that in mind, we'll talk to you soon. Okay, so video's still live.
Are we off?
Not
okay. Yeah,
not
video.
completely.
I still have video going. Just for people that are watching, our audio feed is killed though, or at least the live audio's killed. We're still live on YouTube. That was really cool. I basically like to keep this rolling just for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
This isn't part of the final product though.
No, I'm glad you had me on, man. I'm glad Max was on. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
And that jerk Ash never made it.
Dude, what is up with that guy? And Chuck needs to come on here. Where's Chuck Pressburg, for God's sake?
He's
doing a
in
photo shoot.
North Bend.
I know. I
North
talked
Bend doing a photo shoot.
to Matt Myers day before yesterday. They're doing some kind of video shoot, for B.E. Myers. He's going to be involved in that. And I got a picture from Mary going, oh, look at Chuck. He's doing the video shoot. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, these are fun. These are just cool.
Yep. They are, man. They're good. But Max, man, it was great having you on, man. I'm glad.
Yeah, I had a good time, Jose.
Yeah, brother. It's good seeing you again, too, man.
Absolutely, man. We got to break bread soon.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, bro. Definitely. But I'm going to bail, guys, because I got an early morning.
Me too.
Tarrol, great seeing you too, brother.
Good seeing you again.
It's Jay Snipem, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get your invite to the Dam Neck convention? The Dam Sniper Symposium? Turbo sent. I sent my regards. I'm going.
But I'm probably going to go.
Yeah, Rube's not going. I'm going to represent the unit to that. So, and I think I hope they don't have the marathon dudes back. I don't know why Jason presented the moving target stuff that we did.
Yeah.
Were you there last?
No, I didn't go last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess Jason presented it. I don't know why he wasn't part of it. But
I wonder because that marathon is not all of that.
It's a good system. It's an extreme. Shoot moving targets. Max, the first time you shoot at somebody moving should not be in combat. Period. The end. The first time I shot somebody was in Grenada in 1983, and he was moving because why? Bad guys move. You can yell at them all you want to say, hey, stop, I'm going to shoot you. And they'll go, yeah, right. It doesn't work. So the marathon target piece is a great idea. The AI associated, the artificial intelligence, and the LiDAR that moves them along is fantastic. But they're too expensive, man. $1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, $1 million for 3. And that's not even with the FSR support. That's just the targets themselves.
And don't shoot a laser.
How many lasers? We didn't shoot any lasers while you were there for Jay Snipem, did we?
Yeah, we shot 3 lasers.
Oh, that's right. We shot 3. That's right.
As a matter of fact, one Marine Scout sniper shot 2 of them.
Right.
On the same day.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
You're shooting a little low. The target is like 2 feet up above that. Come on, man.
Now, and just to let you guys know, we were shooting at 1,100 meters. So there was a little bit of a distance thing going on there. Maybe he, shot a little low.
I'll give him. Yeah, no, not Jake.
I think we were out to 1,100 that day. I think
we might have got out to 1,100 that day, but I still laugh at the Air Force guy was the best shooter.
Oh, don't you remember the Coast Guard, the MSRT guys?
Yeah, but that Air Force kid Whitlock.
They outshot the SEALs. No, but the MSRT guy outshot the SEALs, man.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting.
Homer and Turbo both looking at each other going, I got a freaking Coastie out shooting me. What's going on here? I'm a big guy. What the hell's going on?
Yeah. Well, I think it threw out all those ideas they had for years of, hey, we don't have to dial anything. We can just hold. You can't hold on your horizontal plane and your vertical plane at the same time on a mover. It just, it doesn't work at 700.
Here's what I'll say.
At 8 miles an hour.
Here's what I'll say. Well, yeah, at 8 miles an hour, but at 4 and 5. But here's what I'll say is this is just me again, and you may agree with me on an H-58 or an H-59 reticle.
Yeah.
Okay, I will dial my elevation. All right. I will dial my distance. I'll say, okay, I'm at 1,100. I turn that turret all the way up, but I don't mess with my windage, brother. I'm telling you what, I do not lead. I use that H-58 to its fullest. And, and when I was working with Regiment, I was working with 375 and the 175 recce guys. They were doing sniper and sniper, not sniper and observer. And we were bracketing. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
It worked. Like one guy go, okay, I'm going to shoot at 3, you shoot at 5. And the dude's at 4, and one of those bullets are going to land. And it worked.
Yeah.
And now,
shooting.
And now Dam Neck is using it and CAG is using that technique. And the regiment came up with that, with our help, but the regiment came up with that.
Yeah,
So,
I just think it was funny that, they're like, after that, when I watched those guys up in the tower, like, hey, are you guys dialing your elevation on? Hell yeah, we're dialing elevation on. Hey, that works. Yeah, no doubt. Really?
yeah, they didn't know what you were saying when you said dialing your elevation, man. They thought you were talking about holding mil dots, and I'm like, no, dude. Move the turret to where it says 11.
Yeah.
These go to 11.
Yeah. Take the math out of that and make it a lot easier on yourself instead of trying to do it so hard.
I couldn't figure out what he was. I'm an old school sniper. You know that. I'm a USMC scout sniper. I'm old school, and I had, I used my mil dots to fullest until the H-58 came out, and I was like, "Where's this been all my life?" Now,
exactly.
I don't mess with my windage once I'm zeroed, but I do dial in my freaking elevation.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's a side conversation, Matt, Max, and
No worries.
What's that?
Oh, no worries.
No, sorry about that.
Yeah,
This is foundations for another episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the joint sniper
Improve
QRT.
Yeah, it was a joint sniper improvement
Performance.
Yeah.
Improvement methodology quick reaction test.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how to shoot movers, not the linear movers like you see at Mullen, Max, out of Mullen ranges, but at robotic human type targets that look like humans and they're artificially intelligent. So they move like humans. You program, basically you map them. They have a LiDAR system and you tell them, hey, I want you to move in this area. And they decide where they're going to move based on how they hear the bullet. It's like a peephole. You're shooting at a peephole.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very expensive. But the point is, it allowed us to figure out, okay, well, there's aspects to shooting movers. Okay, and you guys know this. The three-dimensional target is not the one-dimensional silhouette moving in the butts. It's a completely that dimension that happens, with a person, that depth, all of that depth, and all of the how can I say it? The perception that a shooter has.
The perspective
and the perception of where the target is and where the target's going to be.
Especially when they're moving at the diagonal. Yeah,
it's totally different when you're shooting a silhouette than when you're shooting a real person, right? Like guys go, oh, I shot right through him. No, dude, you missed. You actually missed. I'm telling you. You did not hit the guy. No, the bullet hit him, but it didn't kill him. That 5.56 stuff doesn't work. No, dude, you missed. And that's why you miss. That's why you miss, because you don't know how to shoot a three-dimensional shooting paper targets. And now these people are real. So this kind of proved that out, right? Didn't it, Tarrol? We said it kind of proved out that there's nuances that you have to try to build a methodology to train people to use to learn how to shoot a three-dimensional target, right? And
I want to do it at night.
Yeah. Actually, when we did it at night, dude, okay, so, where I work, everybody's from Delta Force, I had 20 Delta Force shooters out there, and not a one hit a goddamn freaking target, dude. And I'm like, remember I told you that story, and I'm like,
yeah,
hey, so much for your freaking level of expertise, I'm like, wow.
So, targets they make you real quick.
They make you real because, again, it's like shooting real people. And so what it does is, and also, by the way, they register the hits. They don't just tell you have to hit a kill shot. It has a sensor inside the body that tells you hit a vital organ, okay? And that vital area that you shoot, you can program and say, hey, if I hit him in the C-spine, he's dead. And you program it in. Or if I hit him twice in the chest, if I only hit him once in the lung, it's not going to kill him because it's not necessarily going to kill the guy. But you got to hit him twice in the lung to really knock him out. You know what I mean? And this tells you that. And so you might think you shot the target, but and the guy comes off the glass. Remember that? Oh, I hit him. And he's like, well, he's still moving and he's not down. Well, I hit him. We'll shoot him again, dumbass. Oh, look, he just went behind cover. You lost him,
Yeah.
So it teaches guys, it actually teaches guys how people really react when you shoot them type of thing. You know what I mean? So they're expensive as all sweet Lord. But I'll tell you right now, man, They are the closest thing to realism. Unless I can somehow convince the prison system to give me live targets. I mean, if I could honestly convince the penitentiary, hey, I'll tell you what, if this guy survives and my next Jay snipe him, he's on death row now, let him free. If I could, you know what I mean? But if we could unless we could do that, these things are the best thing on the planet, man. I'm telling you, they are.
You can get the sex bots, man. No things speak now, don't they?
Oh yeah,
a lot cheaper.
As a child, I thought that's how movies work.
Shoot me!
Yeah. What's that? What you think, Jordan?
As a child, that's how I thought movies were made. They just rounded up all the death row guys and shot them in the movies.
Okay, you were a sick child, young man. Straight up, that's a sick freaking thought, man. Oh, but all right, guys. Hey, man, good seeing you guys. Max, we'll be in touch, brother. All right.
All right, brother.
All right.
Yeah, good talking, Jose.
Hey,
Nice meeting you guys.
Yeah, and Tarrol, man, we'll be talking too. And Matt, Jordan, you guys have a good one. We'll be talking soon. Hopefully, you guys will invite me
Sounds
back.
good.
Right?
Oh, no doubt.
All right. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, Matt, Jordan, Tarrol.
Yeah,
See you
good talking
guys
to you
later.
guys.
And I will now end the broadcast.